Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Eagle step high off the window. He's had some big games in his career, a couple of 30-point efforts. One possession basketball game. 4:30 to go. This crowd on their feet. Eagle step for the tie. Yes!
No doubt. Good. Neal has it blocked away. They get it back. McAndrew for three. It's good. The freshman ties it up at 26.
Which primarily is what I do.
And Sorber has it blocked away. That was Neal who blocked it away, but Peavy picks his pocket, heads in, and a two-handed jam. Ross on the drive. There he goes. Chase Ross. In all likelihood for Xavier. McKnight rises from three. And UConn survives to open up Big East play.
Good morning. Welcome in to Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi. Lulla here on the Pillar Exterior stage. What's up, DB?
What is going on, man?
How you doing this morning?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah, you know the usual. No sleep, but we're good.
Yeah.
That wasn't till Brooklyn, more till New York.
Little Beastie Boys there?
Sure.
those
There's a
till
little
Brooklyn?
story I've got to tell.
Ooh, what's up?
It's about three bad kiddos you know so well. It started way back in history. I'm just playing. I had you going.
You got me for a second. I was like,
Gosh,
ooh,
I'm
DB's
good.
got a story?
Let's go. I'm just here to entertain.
Hey, that's
I thought it was about three old ladies.
we're like Gladiator up here. Are you not entertained?
Hey, by the way, you know Lucius's bestie
Yeah.
in Gladiator 2, spoiler alert.
I still haven't seen it, but
His name was Ravi.
I know. Then they, I feel some kind of way about the way they made him look based on the picture you sent me.
Well, he lived to look like, I mean, it could pass.
It could pass. You're right.
But do you understand the region they were in?
I do.
Get a lot of different kinds of people.
He looks appropriate for the region.
He did. He looked like a Ravi.
He looked region appropriate.
He was smart too.
He probably looked more like a Ravi than I do, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to like pick a Ravi,
Yeah, if you're like picking between one or two.
I was like, yep, that's definitely a Ravi.
What would you pick me as?
I don't know.
More of a Roberto?
Timmy.
Timmy?
Yeah.
Like Chang?
No.
I don't look like I can play quarterback in Hawaii?
Chavez.
Timmy Chavez?
Yes.
Timothy Chalamet?
Okay, not doing this with you.
Tim Hardaway. The nasty crossover? No?
By the way, they Memphis did a good penny. They did an okay job hanging on.
They did. There was a time where it looked like he was not long for this
There was
world.
a time
Not long for the world of coaching at Memphis
when
anyway.
you need a certain call
I don't know what's happening here.
to coach the Memphis Tigers.
I'm not familiar with what's happening right
There
now.
are players balling.
Oh, is this We Are the World?
Yes.
Okay.
That's fine.
Sorry, it took me a minute.
Didn't I sound like Bruce? We are the world.
So I basically only know the chorus of that song.
Really? That was a great song.
It was just a touch before my like pop culture memory starts.
Yeah.
Because that's what, like 92,
There's
93?
our choice we're making
When was We Are the World, DB?
to coach our
I thought it was
own
like
teams.
86.
Okay, then it's definitely before my knowledge of pop culture starts.
Anyway, little Beastie Boys and We Are the World.
Yeah, it's a good way to start off a Thursday show.
Yeah. You know.
Can I?
Well, all right. More. Is this slander? Is this more slander?
No, this is a question, and it's a sports question
Okay.
because you watch way more volleyball than I do.
Yeah.
So I'm deferring to the expert here.
Yeah.
I'm deferring to someone with more expertise than me.
Okay.
That's not even close. You definitely have more expertise on college volleyball than I do. So here's my question.
Yes.
Nebraska is very, very good. We know this, right?
What?
Nebraska, very, very good.
Correct.
No one's denying that. They've been dominant all year.
Yes.
I'm trying to understand.
Whoa.
Because we had this with Sam a little bit on Monday where people are like, hey, Pitt's pretty good.
That still was in my mentions yesterday. That thing.
Well, the thing that flew under the radar because of the Cook stuff was that he just completely dismissed Pitt.
Yeah.
Which is a little wild.
Yeah.
Like, Pitt's really, really good.
Did you catch? So, again, there wasn't really, like, to permission to treat like a hostile witness, but there was a little, like, okay.
You bristled up.
So I'm like, but they're the fave. Like Pitt is the favorite.
And they're incredible.
Pretty good.
They're incredible. Like that's why I'm asking these as questions, because I'm trying to make sure I'm not.
I would make Pitt the fave.
Out over my skis here.
I would make Pitt the fave.
And then okay.
And they swept Louisville.
Yeah, people are acting like this is a foregone conclusion. At least people around here are acting like it's a foregone conclusion that Nebraska should win this. And maybe they should win it. But A, Pitt's really, really good, right?
Yeah.
And then B, they just lost to the team they're playing tonight.
I know.
Like, so
I'm well aware.
I don't understand what's happening.
I gave you the odds. There's like $30 between the top three.
Right. Yeah, it's dead even, basically. It's like between 200 and plus 200 and plus 240, right?
Yeah, 200 and 260.
Yeah, so
it's pretty snug.
Like that's about as tight as you're going to get with 3 teams for a championship, right?
100%.
And this is a Penn State team that literally just beat Nebraska.
Yeah. And Pitt is legit.
And they beat a Creighton team that also took Nebraska to 5 earlier in the year. Like, I don't understand what's happened in our local media that people just assume this is a foregone conclusion.
No, because I think I think the perception is, because this is probably.
Is that a fair question?
Yeah, I think the perception is when all teams are hitting on all cylinders,
Nebraska wins.
Nebraska probably wins.
That's fair.
That's what I think.
But how often does that happen in sports?
Well, I don't know. I'll let you know in about 10 hours.
Right? Because, like, in general, in sports, we don't operate under best-case scenarios.
I think you will be. And the only reason I got into Pitt is because a handful of years ago, especially during COVID, like they had a super local talent. And that was back when, I was in Platteview like every other weekend with the Millikins. So I wanted to follow Pitt closely just because I like local athletes. And so I think you'll watch Pitt tonight because they play first. I think they're the first game. You're going to say to yourself, they're pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I saw them earlier in the tournament.
Yeah, they're explosive.
Then I'm not going to lie to you. That's the only time I've seen them all year was earlier in the tournament. I don't remember which match it was. But I don't look at Pitt and go, oh, they're going to be outmatched by Nebraska.
So and
that's not to denigrate Nebraska.
Take good out of everything, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's mucky or not. And one of the good things that came out of that conversation.
What's that?
I had a chance to talk to Coach Pettit.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
I feel a little smarter.
Coach Pettit's a smart guy.
Very. Smart. But my favorite thing about him is he's very good with people. He can gauge people. He should have worked for the BAU.
That's a
Criminal Minds Terry Pettit.
That's a much.
Stop laughing. I got enough of that from Cam the other day. That dude was out of control.
He doesn't spend a lot of time with us, and I think he's caught off guard a little bit by some of the things we say.
Oh no!
I thought, whoa.
What's up, Coach? Hope you're feeling well.
Hey, DB, it's kind of hot in here.
Man.
Oh no!
He jammed that thing down to 54, and it went up to 76 in the room.
It went up 2 degrees.
So I was 46 years old.
Yeah.
47 when I figured out what feels like temperature means.
What is I still don't really know.
You ever heard like
I've heard like, hey, it's gonna be 80, but it's gonna feel like 102 or whatever.
So
it's gonna be 30, it's gonna feel like -8.
Real quick on Twitter, it was a great explanation because I would always ask. I would always say, why don't they just say what the temp is? And so after a couple of years, people probably rolling their eyes like this dude's an idiot. Somebody finally just tweeted at me. Might have been FSU Mike. I don't know. It was somebody. And they go, it's like your thermostat. You may set it on 70, but it will have a room reading. It feels like whatever that room reading is. So Cam had that thing in the 50s.
I actually don't think that's accurate, but that's okay.
I think that's about right.
So the way they measure temperature is it's about...
Is this Ravi, Tom, Bavacqua, Flowers, Randy?
No, this is more the sciencey
Caitlin
explanation,
Lulla?
like the physicist explanation.
I don't... Who's the guy that I like on Channel 6? He's funny. Oh, Rusty.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Pardon?
No, I'm just kidding. As a physicist.
DeGrasse Tyson?
Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson. You've seen him. He's the black guy.
Did he not wear any socks to the ring? And he wore like...
No, that's Mike.
Oh.
Neil deGrasse was not showing his booty on Netflix.
Was it the guy
or his bunda? Sorry, his bunda.
Is it the guy that became a great musician from Toronto?
I don't know who that is.
He went to Degrassi.
Oh, Drake.
He's ambiguously. Knock it off.
Ambiguously brown duo.
You don't think that's right? I think that's right.
No. So he's a physicist, and he makes the rounds on talk shows and stuff sometimes because he's pretty charismatic for a physicist. Most scientists are not like real people.
Well, you know that's our defense mechanism is our charisma.
Yeah, for sciencey folks. For the sciencey people, that's what I'm talking about. The scientific community.
Why are you guys so loud? Defense mechanism.
Famously, physicists are super loud. But no, it's I believe.
I'm sure Einstein was a yeller.
For sure. With hair like that, had to be.
Well, there you go.
Carl Sagan. I mean, you saw how much Stephen Hawking was always yelling at people through that computer.
So, do you realize I put that dude on ignore for years?
Who?
Stephen.
Why?
So he was like, I didn't know if he was like part of the conspiracy theory. Was he legit? Like people.
What do you mean? Part of what conspiracy theory?
We don't have time.
We got 2 hours and 49 minutes, brother. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Nebraska doesn't play for another week and a half.
I'm about to go watch some practice.
I'm just saying.
Anyway.
Temperature is measured by the movement of the molecules in the air. That's how you measure temperature.
Sure.
So
sure.
But there are other factors that are included in the feels like temperature, like humidity and wind, that don't affect the movement of the molecules in the air.
Okay.
So temperature is like a hard scientific reading.
Yeah.
And then feels like is what it would feel like if there were no other elements involved.
Oh.
Yeah. That's all.
So the analogy was pretty good. Just the reason for it was.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. It's relatively.
And that's temperature.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
But
there's only one person in this room.
Yeah.
So you need to consult with your mom.
Yeah.
But she will get the Ravi Tom Bavacqua reference.
Oh no, I know who Tom Bavacqua is.
Yeah.
I'm aware of him. I probably couldn't pick him out of a lineup, but I know the name.
Is he? I don't know if he's still with us.
He was like an old school weather guy, right?
He's such
Here
a
in Omaha.
good-looking young fella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He aged terribly.
I have no idea.
I'm sure you said he was a good-looking young fella, so I was like, what happened later?
It was in the 80s. It was in the 80s.
Should we slow Google Tom Bavacqua?
I went to school with his son, Tony Styles.
How do we spell Bavacqua?
Oh Lord, I would guess B-E-V-A-C-Q-U-A.
I found it. Is that my guy?
What does bolstered mean?
Is that my guy? Right there? Tom?
Oh no, looks like nicely to me. I can't even see that far.
Okay, that's fine. Tom Bavacqua. He's got an IMDb page, so that's great.
Nice.
That might be a different Tom Bavacqua.
I need to. I can take an online eye exam.
Yeah, you probably need to figure that out.
No, but should I do that? Like, is that legit? My mom is on me like a cheap suit.
I don't know if the online ones are legit, but it can't be any worse than you're not being able to see right now.
Again, I just towing the line. Just don't always need you to go over. I have a mom, and for right now, I have a wife.
Yeah,
so
and your mom's usually on my side. I'm trying to help out here.
Just towing that line. Just fall off the old stage. Which, by the way, this can't be good for my health.
Oh man, it's still broken.
And look at all this close to me.
I know.
Apparently, they had a nice little shindig last night.
Yeah, there's Christmas decorations. If you can see us on the
little mixing board
streams, little DJ no, just mixing on the. There's a lot of Indian DJs. I don't know if you know this. What's up, DB?
Oh, I see.
You look like you might be kind of hungry.
You said
microphone check.
So again, this always boils down to TikTok.
What's up?
On my algorithm, there's the one where they have the two people that are reenacting. It's like a voiceover for a Christmas song, and then there's the person that comes in and beatboxes in the back.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
That's what the and then I wanted to kind of low key choke you because I thought you were going to say Uruguay.
Uruguay? It's not Uruguay, DB.
So let's get over that.
You have to pronounce it correctly.
Just trying to help you.
In the local tongue. Uruguay.
In the who?
In the local tongue. Uruguay.
We're in Omaha, god dang it.
Right, but I'm trying to be sensitive to the
Uruguayans?
I don't know what it is. Uruguayans?
Oh, stop it.
Yeah, I think so too. But
Me too, Art. I'm glad you're in a much better mood after Creighton, because you're even a crabby texter.
So we did get a little mention from Hot Danger. How long are we going to avoid how terrible Kalk and the boys are?
About another 64 milliseconds.
Yeah, I was texting you last night.
I mean, an angry text.
Oh yeah, I was upset.
Yeah, that must be what you must be the equivalent to Benny Mac and the Kansas City Chiefs.
I don't really react while I'm watching it. Like if I'm watching on TV, I'll react in an arena.
Yeah.
But when I'm watching on TV, I'd kind of just sit there and stew over it.
I just some of the one-liners.
Maniacal is a box full of kittens.
It was terrible.
Which, by the way, was a very understated analogy.
Like
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember what I said exactly. I don't remember if I called it embarrassing to you.
Well, we started out with this team as a joke.
That's not where we started. That's where we ended.
Yeah.
I think I started off with this team.
No, you go. This
performs.
team. This team blows.
Yeah, I don't know if I could say that on the air or not. So you just plowed right through.
Everybody has to cool their soup and stuff.
That's true. That's bubbles.
Right. Like
seemed like they were just out
get
there.
your mind out of the.
No, I was
out of the good.
At Uruguay.
This team blows.
What
what
bubbles.
a joke. Look, totally in the net. Could barely hold on to the ball. Like,
was any of that inaccurate?
Yeah, the 16 turnovers was. So he's got some dilemmas.
Yeah,
clearly.
Coach Mack.
Yeah. Because I just don't know how long you can wait for Neil to go 1999 again.
Yeah, that's probably never happening again. Like that particular stat line.
Yeah, it was the first time since ever.
That 1999 9 and 4.
I think it was 04,
at least 05.
04, according to the great Rob Anderson.
So, which means it's 100% accurate, like zero doubts. I'm just being honest.
If he said it, it is.
Yeah,
true.
it's gospel.
So, and one of the few true things that I felt like Roy Hibbert said, if you could make your way through that broadcast, was
that was brutal. It was so bad. How many times did somebody say something and Roy Hibbert was just, yep.
Nope. Not going to do it.
He's a one-trick pony.
It was brutal.
So B-Mac is just going to infiltrate the show.
Yeah.
Because I remember when he hung up, Shane goes, that was great.
That means,
like, are you gonna punch me in the
Shane
face?
marked like 10 drops.
I got like 9 or 10 drops out of that.
What?
Shane, are you a big Ben McLaughlin guy?
I have no idea.
Here we go.
Eric says DJ Ravi and the Benning Bunch. We could do that.
That was weird.
So what was Roy Hibbert's one?
So the one thing that he did say, because we saw it actually happen with UConn and a little bit with some teams in the Big East, where he said, there's actually some insight.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, shoot. I put my ear to the TV.
Yeah.
I was like, what's up, Roy?
You got to stay locked in for the one nugget he's going to drop.
I was quiet as a church mouse, so I had to make sure that I was listening because you hear a flipping pin drop.
Lord knows you couldn't have seen it.
See, I kind of feel like that was unnecessary.
It was. You're right. It was.
Lord knows you couldn't have seen it. Oh, that's cool.
Oh, I see.
It's totally fine. I see what we've been on, and I'm going to play.
Okay.
Okay. No, so he's like, the first couple of games in the Big East are tough because students aren't in school. It's usually during exams, and you have to bring your own energy. And I was like, oh, I could see that as I flipped around and I watched St. John's very sleepily play DePaul in the first half before they pulled away from them. And I still don't know, Xavier, what they are, but watching that through overtime, I'm like, Roy might be onto something there.
Yeah, it's challenging for sure.
That seems like a miserable gym to play in.
Yeah, so the issue with Georgetown is they've been so bad that the time of year has.
Did you hear the guy when he said he clearly yelled during the game, blow the whistle And he sounded like he was part of the broadcast.
That's my favorite. When you're at like DePaul or a bad Georgetown team.
Like, are the parabolic mics that close?
No, I love it when there's like 8 people in the stadium or in the arena, and you can hear every single one of them because there's no one else there. That's a hallmark of DePaul. Like, you can hear every single conversation happening in the arena when DePaul plays. But
Everybody.
to give Roy a little bit of credit, but also say that he's wrong. At places like Georgetown, when they're not good, it's not just it's always like that, right? So that's Creighton has historically under Coach Mack struggled at Georgetown, regardless of how good Georgetown is, and that's one of the really big reasons. I remember this had to be 2019, sitting at the Jet Awards with you, watching Creighton lose to a terrible Georgetown team on my phone at Georgetown. And I'm just sitting there, and I go, this happens every freaking year.
Isn't it amazing how that event is blown up?
Yeah.
We were kind of in the back room at the hotel.
Oh, no, that wasn't the Jet. That was the Outland. The Outland.
Yeah, that was your boy, Penny Sewell. That's when you first started your man crush.
That's my guy.
I love him.
As does everyone in Detroit. And probably everyone in Cincinnati, the one that got away.
I love him.
See you. Have a good day.
I wish Detroit could have stayed healthy so I could see if they have a coaching problem.
You talking about Campbell?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Oh, I just don't think you can
rev that high all the time.
I just don't think you can make a living with those in-game decisions all the time and keep saying to yourself, "Well, that's how they play. That's how they play." And later on, in sometime
at some point, that's going to bite you against better teams.
Yeah,
that's fair.
But anyway, so I think the dilemma there is you're so unathletic off the bounce along the perimeter. Like getting into offense could be really, really difficult.
So that's one problem. The second problem is that Mac has typically used to overcome that is this cohesiveness within his motion offense and his offensive sets.
You're right.
And he doesn't have that, right? You've got new guy, Jackson McAndrew, new guy, Jemiah Neal. You had somebody else in the starting lineup instead of Mason Miller in Pop Isaacs. So you've got Mason Miller in a new role. You've got Stephen Ashworth in a little bit of a new role. And then Ryan Kalkbrenner can't really help you in.
Isn't it crazy
on the perimeter
how in just a year Ashworth went from the guy like get Trey back in to the
only
that guy can't take any downtime. He just can't go to the bench.
Cannot take him off the floor.
He literally sat 60 seconds of real time last night.
Yeah, and at one point one of the broadcasters goes, I think Ashworth's been in the whole game. Yes, he has. Good observation. Thank you. Kalkbrenner plays a lot too. I don't know.
To this day,
it's just so hard to get him the ball.
It is. This is one of the least intuitive passing teams Greg McDermott's ever had. Like none of them are natural passers. That's a huge problem, and as much of a problem as the cohesion on offense. Because if you're running the motion stuff that Greg used to run when he used to have the athleticism problem on the perimeter. All of those guys were good passers, had good vision, and knew how to get the ball to people. Nobody on that team has that skill set right now.
They just can't get into like the teeth of a defense.
No, by any means necessary. They can't do it. They can't do it off penetration. They can't do it off post touches. They just can't do it, which means you have to basically rely on, hey, are we going to be able to shoot 30-footers at a 40% clip tonight? That's the offense. And I'm going to be honest with you, not a lot of fun to watch. Not enjoying myself. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We'll set up the show in a little bit on Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We will be back. 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 You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. If you're headed to work and not already at work like me and DB are, make sure you've got that seatbelt fastened. It can prevent injuries and save lives, but only if worn properly. Make it click. This message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. DB, we were talking a little bowl games during the break.
Yeah.
And I like UNLV. Obviously, they're going to be a different team next year with Mariota moving on.
That was an easy call when you asked me. That's why I didn't want to give that. I was like, yeah, I like UNLV.
I like UNLV also.
I went with the Isaac Trout matchup.
But I was also very impressed with Cal.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I hadn't probably watched them, if I'm being totally honest.
Since Pitt, probably, or did you watch that game?
I
only watched it because
Pitt?
We were already in the studio for doing pregame.
Yeah.
The Cal-Pitt game. And remember, I liked Cal in that game because Pitt was like a 3.5-point favorite, and they were traveling across the country. And that's how I remember. And I was like, well, that's not right. It's supposed to be really, really hard. And B. Edwards like Pitt. Remember? Am I not joking?
No, you do. I'm trying to figure out what point in the season.
Oh, that was probably week 4 or 5, maybe.
So it was week 6. It looks like that was when.
Oh, not bad for your boy.
That was pretty good.
Thank you.
No. So I watched them.
You can learn a lot from a dummy.
The last game I probably watched them. I watched Auburn and I watched Florida State. So in weeks 2 and 4.
So you watched them beat Auburn
and then lose to Florida State.
Yeah.
And So I watched them in that. Oh, I think I watched them against Miami too because I wanted to see if they were good.
They play hard.
That's the thing that I took away from them was they kind of smack you in the face a little bit.
Yep. That's. I'm a big Wilcox guy,
and that's a super counter. And I know this is just because of where they're located and what the conference they used to be in. That's super counterintuitive for a Cal team.
Yeah, they smack you. They're clearly undermanned, right?
But like very physical.
Needed better quarterback play, but they tackle, they get to the ball.
Justin Wilcox is the guy that I wonder.
Much better coach than his record.
Yeah, I think
Cal
is a really hard place to win consistently. And because you've got a lot of frankly, you've got a lot of the same challenges as Stanford does.
He said, frankly, you don't give a damn.
Like Franklin?
Hey.
Delano? Roosevelt? No?
Is it Delano? That's Delanor. Is it Nor or no?
We're going to slow Google.
Oh, my gosh.
Franklin. It's Delano. Yeah, no R.
Delano?
Yeah, like
Delano?
Like Delano, like Brooke.
Yeah.
Except for it's
shout out Ron Colley Volleyball.
Delano. I think it was her brother. I knew a Delano growing up as well. I think they were siblings. I don't remember though.
Yeah, they played better than the outcome.
I just wonder if Wilcox is a guy that is going to be much more successful at a different job at a different point in his career.
I love him.
Like I would sign up to play football the way he coaches.
So that's one of those people. He doesn't come to mind when you ask me, but like once every couple months, it's just an irrational affinity for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Wilcox is one. In my former life, I would just randomly bring up Cal just because I like the way they play.
Yeah,
they so good. Typically, pretty good defensively, given what he has, and they play hard. They earned a better outcome than last night, but you can't give up 8 yards of play when you're only getting four and some change or so.
Yeah, it's kind of miraculous they were as close as they were, considering some of the like peripheral statistics were.
Well, they out yardaged UNLV. I wouldn't say by quite a bit, but UNLV won a game in which they had less than 300 yards total offense.
Yeah, that's a weird.
And I don't mind the late game.
I don't either
because I'm not doing anything, and once I put Ryder to bed, Jay's working, so it's like I want something good to watch.
I kind of liked the setup yesterday where I got Creighton early, then I got the first bowl game, James Madison middle, and then I had Cal, UNLV late.
Felt like Western Kentucky earned a better outcome than that too.
Yeah, probably.
The late cheap score, but I mean that's fine. But James Madison, I like the Chesney guy, little pretty boy.
Yeah. Good ball player.
Yeah, he could have probably. He's a former Cowboy. He probably could have been on Yellowstone.
I was gonna say he could have gone to Indiana.
He came from Holy Cross, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think he's a Holy Cross.
I get some of the strange, small, religious-sounding schools confused, like Holy Cross and Incarnate Word, and like I get some of them mixed up a little bit.
Somebody just drubbed them the other day.
Incarnate Word.
Yeah. No, it was football. Who was it? South Dakota? No.
Were they in the quarters?
Somebody hammered them.
That would have been the quarters,
NFCS,
right?
Yeah. I can't remember who it was.
I can't either. It's a good. It
was NDSU, I think.
I'll say it's a reasonably good bet that it was a Dakota school.
Yeah. That's
a pretty safe bet.
Isn't it crazy of all that Montana State's the only undefeated team of the bunch?
Yeah.
And South Dakota State isn't the one.
They were one most of the year, right?
3 seed.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem right. I think they're favored this weekend.
Was it C1 that had happened in high school?
Yeah.
Where the best team was the 3 seed?
Yeah.
We're like, what's going on here, bud? Except for they were all undefeated.
They ran through that bad.
And we're like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Shout out Wahoo.
But no, speaking of some down the line football championships, shout out Iowa Western. They lost last night.
Could you believe that?
No. I mean, it's really I can't believe how hard it is to do what Strohmeyer does.
I think this is so childish, but if we're just being honest, you know the thing that made me the most upset about Hutch winning?
What's that?
I hate their uniforms.
No, I get that. I 100% get that. If I don't like the way something looks, just literally visually looks.
Okay, so I feel validated. That's why I can't get over.
You know
Walter
who
Payton.
I hate?
Who?
TJ Huzmanzada. Because of that ugly ass hair. I hated it. Couldn't deal with it. His is curly and frizzy. Mine isn't.
Okay.
He also, if I remember right, he had a weird teeth thing going on. I didn't like looking at him.
Kind of a weird
I know.
flex.
It's not a flex. This is me being
For
honest.
a guy whose hair is all over the joint.
This is a vulnerability moment here.
Oh, sorry. Let me tune in. It's tough when men are vulnerable.
This is I thought this was a safe place.
It is.
But yeah.
Do you often wonder about waitresses? No, I'm kidding.
No.
Totally kidding.
No. But there's just certain guys where I'm like, I don't like how
Snoop-a-loop.
I don't like how he looks. I'm not gonna root for him, no matter if everything else checks the boxes. Nah, can't do it.
Yeah.
Uniforms are the same way. So if I hate a uniform, I'm just out.
I just felt like, especially they had the drive where they got the sack. It was 17-13 halfway through the third, and I'm like, wow, they're dominating up front. Like I think this is going to be how they're able to play.
Yeah. Was it 28-23 final?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was one of the games. Bless your heart, YouTube television. Even though you've gone up a third since you started.
Double.
Is it double?
Yeah, they start a little more actually because they started at 35 a month and it was 40 for a long time and now we're up to 82.
I can't remember where I got in at. I have to ask Josh. He's the one that Josh D is the one that I don't know what I got in for.
I got in at 40, so it's been quite the ride for me. All the way up to
So Hutch pissed me off, but that was one of the options that you could split. You could multi-view.
Oh yeah.
So I could multi-view
100%
both football games. But then, because I'm a sicko, I had to watch CSUN and USC basketball.
I told you after I texted you because you texted me about basketball after the Creighton game.
Yeah.
I go, no more basketball for me tonight.
You go, I need football.
I
was like, damn.
I need a palate cleanser.
Well, and I wouldn't have thought to click over except Coog sent me a text and he's like, hey, he's being funny, but I took the bait. He's like, hey, do you want me to pass along best wishes to Saint? I was like, yeah, do that. So then I watched a little USC too.
People forget St. Thomas, Miller North guy.
Yeah. Hey, that's a
Mosman guy too, isn't he, T-Mose?
Oh, yeah. Spent a lot of time at the old Mosman. I'm pretty sure Saint may have every pen and every code that belongs over there off of.
Well, if he doesn't,
184th.
Hunter.
There are about 200 other kids that do.
If he doesn't, Hunter certainly does.
Mosman door mission. Wild over there. Wild.
Guy's looking out. He's gonna look good looking out.
Man,
we love T-Mose.
Yeah, we do.
That's funny. No, I'm always here to root for the Miller North guys, but
that's a good pull though for Cal.
Yeah,
because that's one of those teams where you're like, I know what good football looks like, even though it doesn't generate the outcome I want.
Yeah, but that's a team honestly, it reminded me kind of the Jim Harbaugh Stanford teams before they got good.
Yeah,
like, hey, they're undermanned clearly, but they're playing a really solid style of football.
That back is nice, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
You should have seen him last year when he was healthy.
Yeah. He was nice. And they were pretty good up front.
That dude's like a baby giraffe that just started being. That's how he runs.
Yeah.
That just started to be get his legs underneath him.
Like they created some holes up front.
Yeah.
I was impressed. Cody, hold on here. We'll get to your call. Didn't want to leave you with only 30 seconds left. We'll get to your call and much more. And I still need to set up the show when we get back from Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We will be back. be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Wrapping up hour number one here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Coming up on the show today, Bill Bender. He's our national college football writer for the Sporting News. Will join us at 8 o'clock to talk a little college football playoff, maybe some bowl games too. We'll see how he's feeling.
Yeah.
At 8:45, our Thursday regular, Brian Edwards. We'll see if the stream is working with B. Edwards this week because we love to see his
cream cheese to butter the bagel.
We love to see his bright and shining face and see him fumble with the mute button. Then we've got Michael Bruntz at 9 o'clock, Husker 24/7. I think he's drinking a big cup of coffee right now.
That's not necessary.
What? He's a big coffee guy.
Yeah, but I don't think that's why he was.
You don't think so?
No.
Oh, was he being snarky?
I'm gonna need you to knock that off.
What'd I do? What?
I feel like the guys that used to chew.
You like packing the?
Yeah, and I could never do it. But,
packing the dip can. I never got into
this
that.
This is LLN. Wait.
LMFAO.
Oh man, LMNT. This is an electrolyte drinking mix. It's 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium.
Yeah.
And can I do magnesium? Let's try it. Magnesium usually doesn't sit well.
Yeah. It's supposed to be good for you.
No, clearly.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
Wanted to come back with
Ooh.
You all right there? So I had an analogy with our my question about Nebraska volleyball. You just going to dry scoop this thing? Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to do a monologue then because you're probably going to choke on it. You got to be careful with the dry scoop. You all right? It's not going down well for DB. So we were talking about the temperature, right? Feels like versus air temp. I feel like that's what's happening with Nebraska volleyball here.
Very hurt right now.
I don't need to hear from you.
The air temp.
Sometimes I forget we're on camera. It's fine.
Sometimes I forget we're on air. Sometimes the real temp, the
awful salty
actual 1,000 milligrams of sodium is pretty aggressive. I feel like the actual temperature of the college volleyball Final Four is that it's incredibly close between the top 3 teams, and then you've got a 4th team who's at home,
and
right. So incredibly close between the top 4 teams.
All 4 1 seeds.
That's the air temperature. In Nebraska, the feels like temperature is drastically different than the air temperature.
Nah, I'm with you there.
So I just wanted to come back and get that. I also wanted to.
Did you read Doug's comment?
Yeah, so I was going to go there next, where Doug was referencing a conversation we had earlier.
I told
in the
you
week.
he's funny. Like me and Doug have been riding for a while.
He goes, was catching up on yesterday's show this morning via the podcast, which you can get on all your major podcast providers. Sometimes you get extra stuff too, because we're not always great at cutting a break off on time.
Who's you got a turd in your pocket?
No, I'm talking to the guy that asks questions after the segment's already over.
Hey, who did I do that to the other day?
Cynthia.
Oh yeah.
You were just Cam's like giving us the 5, 4, 3, and you're like, Cynthia, one more.
So just for the record, it's a lot going on to listen. Look at you, see Cam through the window, and be able to read
through the window. Ooh. It's all right. Doug says,
I don't need. You know what?
To the wall. Was catching up on the. What's up?
Are you on PCP?
No, I'm on Diet Coke and Uncrustables.
Stop it.
Wow.
Doug says, was hoping you could answer a question. If Mike Vrabel does get the Buckeyes job, how long do you think we need to wait before we know whether he's the Kirsten Bernthal Booth of Ohio State? I believe he might be making a reference to our dear friend Sam McEwen comparing John Cook to Ryan Day.
So that was one he actually kind of came back and got.
I helped a little.
No, I did, because I asked. I was like,
you stopped him.
Wait a minute. And we were 2 minutes into something else. I gotta go back and get this.
And then I go, I don't think he was making a direct comparison.
And for the first time ever, you did something kind. You were like trying to help me, because you could see I was increasingly getting agitated.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm gonna try and turn the temperature down a little bit here.
It's fine.
By trying to help Sam out.
We get along very well.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. But no, I don't know if we're ever gonna find out, Doug, if Coach Booth and Mike Vrabel have anything in common. Just
ever.
I still don't know if I want to. I guess maybe Belichick going first helps, but I would not have pegged Vrabel for Ohio State, and I still don't know if that's the case. I just thought it was interesting. Because somebody doubled down with the question like college or pro.
Yeah,
and Dan wouldn't say.
Yeah, and there is apparently some interest reportedly on Vrabel's part in the New England Patriots job. So maybe that's
that's the one.
Maybe that's.
But you told me Mayo wasn't going anywhere.
I didn't tell you Mayo wasn't going anywhere. Cynthia told you Mayo wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah, well.
And I don't know. I haven't decided if I think that's a good organization or not yet.
Okay. You waiting for some sort of referendum? Or
no, I'm waiting to see if anybody else can be successful there outside of Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Because if
Parcells played in the Super Bowl, didn't he?
Was that before or after Kraft bought the team?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it was before.
Well, wouldn't that lend itself to the Patriots being pretty okay? Eason and Grogan played in the Super Bowl.
They've also been one of the worst franchises historically for long stretches of their history.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a pretty good franchise.
Okay.
I think.
I would like to wait and see on Robert Kraft.
Well, since the 80s, under different ownership.
Yeah.
They've played in
12
Super Bowls?
Yeah, in 3 different eras, basically.
Seems like a lot.
That is. That's fair. That's fair. 10 of them are with the same guys.
Yeah.
And they hadn't won one under anyone besides those guys. I mean, the Bears made a Super Bowl II in 2006 and in 1985.
Touchy.
We agree.
With an apostrophe.
We agree that that's a terrible franchise.
Nah, I'm with you.
The Jets made 3 straight AFC championship games with Rex Ryan. We agree that's a terrible franchise. So
we're going over 3 decades, though.
I'm just saying, there's outliers there.
Yeah.
I don't know if Robert Kraft is a guy that a lot of people would want to work for.
I
don't know.
How many Super Bowls did they have?
10, 11, 12.
Just 10. They went to 10.
Who's that, McGuire? Is that Garrett?
Or 9? Did they go to 9? Yeah, that was Garrett.
You gonna get to Cody?
Yeah, hope he's enjoying his time in Lubbock. Got Cody
That's
here.
tough.
No, I was being serious.
Okay.
He's coaching with his dad in Lubbock. I hope he's enjoying himself. I don't have anything against Garrett McGuire. He seemed like a nice man.
You know what I think of here with you over the last handful of stretches of shows?
What's that?
What's up, y'all?
Are you into like insurance for businesses and companies and stuff?
What do you mean? Am I into it?
Yeah, like I just think AIG, and I know that's a different branding company, but
okay,
because you know how sometimes I get the ABG guy. You're like AIG. I mean, you can fill in like what the letters stand for, but
all in good.
Yeah.
He's doing a really, really good job.
It's all good. Is that MC Hammer?
I don't know. That's not part of my DJ repertoire. Let's get to Cody.
So the DJ can't spin. I guess not.
He wants to talk a little JUCO. Cody, what's going on, bud?
What's going on, gentlemen? First off, Ravi.
Yes.
When I was in middle school, Damon, you ever heard of offense defense football camps?
Yes. God,
When I was in
you're
middle
a
school,
pup.
I went to the one in Kansas City.
Okay.
And the coaches were Priest Holmes and TJ Houshmandzadeh.
What a
He was a
pull.
good dude.
What a pull. He's good on television, I think.
Yeah, so I somewhere have a mini helmet, a little offense defense mini helmet signed by TJ Houshmandzadeh, or as the old ESPN commercial would say, TJ Who's Your Mama.
Yeah.
TJ Houshmandzadeh.
Okay, when I was calling for is I've been texting one of my JUCO teammates. He's the coach up at Ellsworth now, and this new rule I think is going to be a giant loophole.
You talking about Pavias?
Guys like yes. Well, why wouldn't like Aaron Nolan just go to a JUCO for 2 years and declare for the draft?
Well, you might be able to. They're going to have to be very careful with extended playing time.
Yeah, I mean, Hunter Deckers, I think, is setting the tone for that. I mean, granted, he was kicked out of the NCAA, but being able to declare for the draft after this year, why wouldn't more guys just start doing that?
They probably will. This will be a very heavily litigated sport.
Yeah, and that's what we were texting about this morning. He's all for it because he's about to pick up a ton of recruits with the new 105 rule and now this rule. And he's like, why wouldn't they just go JUCO? Because academics are a joke, and you can just go play football and, I got my 3 years in, I'll just go to the draft.
You realize when I was in school, high school and heading into college and even middle school, what a monster Ellsworth was? Everybody that was somebody like came out of Ellsworth. It was incredible. It was incredible.
Our head football coach was Mike Verdon, who won the titles about when you were the early 90s.
Yep.
Then went to Boise State.
That
was our coach.
I got a question for you, Cody. Which one of these guys is most like their current ranking? You ready?
Yeah.
Caleb Smith at 5.
Yeah.
Brock Hardy at 5. Ridge Lovett at 5.
Okay.
Taylor at 3. Bubba Wilson at 7. Or Allred at 5. Which one of those guys is most like their ranking?
Well, the low-hanging fruit would be Antrell because he's on a roll right now. Ridge, I think there's.
I thought you may make the case that 3 is too low for him. Is that about right?
But so he hasn't wrestled the top 2 guys though.
Yep.
That's going to be the issue. I mean, the same with Bubba. Bubba's got that ranking because he beat
Sasso.
Yeah, and the other guy, like Caleb, 125 is a crapshoot, just like last year. And then I think Brock Hardy is too low.
What about Pinto at 14?
Pinto did really bad at Clifton.
I know,
so
but I love Lenny. He'll be back into the single digits shortly.
Yeah, so he'll be, and it sucks because they're not going to get a whole lot of competition tomorrow.
Oh, and the triangular?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cody, appreciate the call, bud. We've got Bill Bender coming up next on Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Kicking off hour number 2 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here on the Pillar Exterior stage. We are joined now by Bill Bender. He's a national college football writer for the Sporting News. Bill, how are you this morning?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thank you.
Bill, so we were kind of joking, but not really joking anymore. On the heels of Pavia's deal, and I mean, we talked a couple of months ago about what this potentially could mean for unlimited eligibility, and it was just kind of this little funny hee-hee, ha-ha chuckle deal. But shoot, they're going to have to tread lightly with this court case. Will football here in the college football here in the next year or so be the most single litigated sport on the planet?
Yeah, because there's so many things that still need fixed. I mean, the product and the excitement is great. I don't want to say that it's not. I've had a lot of fun this season, but some of it's exhausting. You know, rather the transfer portal, the calendar just needs a complete fix.
Yep.
I mean, I have kids in school. The school calendar evolves, right? And I think you need to evolve the transfer portal. I think we need to move the regular season up. We need to kind of tighten up transfer portal rules and eligibility rules. Look, I'm all about kids being able to play, but when you have 7th and 8th year players, and some of that's because of COVID, I understand that, it is a little on the line. Now, in Pavia's case, yeah, you have to tread lightly because you want that eligibility to be fair, and I think we're going to continue to evolve on that end as well.
Yeah, Bill, I mean, to Pavia's point, right, I get it's a slippery slope between what he's saying and unlimited eligibility, but it is a totally different governing body. These rules don't apply to people at prep schools. Like, is there a good reason why JUCO years should count towards NCAA eligibility?
I just think because you're playing college football, you're not playing high school football. You're still playing at that level, and maybe it should, maybe it shouldn't. But to me, you should, once you're out of high school, you should have 4 years on the field of playing that, you know, and I know we're talking about adding an extra year of eligibility. I think that would be a mistake. You know, so whether you're playing, in my opinion, now some others different. To me, if you're playing JUCO for a year, then you play 3 at Nebraska, that should be fine, you know, and if you're not able to play at the NFL level at that point or the professional level at that point, that's okay. You know what I mean? So I'm all about giving kids opportunities, but I think the intent of some of these rules has been twisted a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me get to you said something interesting that I think is spot on, right? The product on the field and the excitement. You said, I had a lot of fun this year. How much of this kind of grumbling and how much we're mad at the sport and this isn't the college football? I mean, you hear it, right, in your sphere of influence, national media as well, but doesn't have anything to do with until the actual games are being played, right? I watched Cal and UNLV last night, and we opened the show talking about the physicality of Cal, right? We didn't talk about NIL or who wasn't playing. Once the games actually start, it's easy to romanticize about the sport again, isn't it, or not?
I watched every play last night of that UNLV game. And I didn't have to, you know, you don't have to watch every play of 41 bowl games, but, you know, and that's a great point because who did we watch last night? Haj Malik Williams, the guy that took over at quarterback for another quarterback whose NIL deal didn't come through and left the team. So you could choose to say, let's concentrate on that story, or you could have just watched the football game. And yes, some key players were not playing in the game. Ricky White was out. Cal's quarterback was in the portal. But at the end of the day, I was like, hey, this is a pretty good football game. Both these defenses are playing hard. Noel Williams, he was on our All-American team. I wanted to watch him one more time.
Yeah.
So I find but some of us are like that you find an excuse to watch a game. You know, I'm going to watch Sam Houston tonight. When people say bowl games don't matter, if Sam Houston wins tonight, tell me it doesn't matter to them. It'd be their first bowl victory as an FBS school, and I bet they celebrate that pretty hard.
I just want to see the orange and white, man. I'm all in on Sam Houston. Like him getting 4.5 too, Bill, but that's a whole nother story.
It's neither here nor there.
So do I. See?
Oh, you're a good man. I always enjoy it. So, Bill, we've been kind of on this little hypothetical, and this is on the heels of Orlovsky's deal, and I'm going to go right to your backyard with Ohio State. And the discussion of Vrabel came up. And I'm going to be honest. Listen, maybe my head's in the sand, but I did not think – because we just had Cynthia Freeland on the day before, and I was just talking about Vrabel and potential job openings. At no point did I think college until listening to that back and forth on the Four Letter Network with Orlovsky. Are you hearing rumblings being that close to the place that Vrabel would be a very viable candidate to return to Columbus?
I hear conflicting things.
Okay.
You know, to me, it's he's an NFL coach. You know, the Bears, potentially what other openings come up, he would fit. You know, he did a very good job at Tennessee. Won 2 division titles. Went to an AFC Championship game with Ryan Tannehill. He had a good run. The last 2 seasons, not so much, but he can coach in the NFL. Now, would he want to coach at Ohio State? People keep saying, well, he doesn't want to do the recruiting part. Well, we just had this discussion about Bill Belichick last week, and he's doing it. And who did Mike Vrabel play for? Bill Belichick. So I'm sure if he wanted to coach Ohio State and the opportunity was there, he would do it. All that said, I don't see a scenario where Ryan Day isn't their coach next year, unless they totally bomb on Saturday night, unless it's like complete disaster, Tennessee rolls in there. A lot of talk about Tennessee fans. You know the text I've been getting most this week when it comes to Ohio State is from various people around 270 telling me, my friends around the loop, which is that circles Columbus, Tennessee fans are in this bar. And Tennessee fans are playing Rocky Top in this bar.
We've seen them take over Omaha. It can happen.
It's like a Where's Waldo thing, right? Like they are.
Ever they're wearing bright orange, so it's easier to find.
Let me ask you guys this. You've never seen Nebraska Stadium. Has it ever been overrun by an opposing fan base?
Not as bad as – nope.
No.
Never, right?
Nope.
Because of the sellout streak and everything. Ohio State Stadium in my lifetime has never been overrun, ever. And I'm wondering what the percentage of orange in that stadium. I am curious. There was not much blue in there a couple weeks ago, mainly because I think Michigan fans thought they were going to get blown out.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how much orange will really be in the stadium on Saturday. I'm really curious.
Bill, I will say this. I was surprised. I'm on the network doing the broadcast for Nebraska, Ohio State. And I tweeted out a picture real time. It's probably 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And there were several empty seats. And that was in addition to the booing. Is it possible that it's waning? Like, I get it. Days worn thin for some. But do you think that's part of it? Because I was shocked, and this was real time when I put it out on Twitter.
Oh, if you've been in that stadium this year, I was in there 3 times this year: Iowa, Indiana, and Michigan. And I bet you felt the same way. You can feel the anxiety in that stadium.
Yep, that's a good word.
Radiates.
That's a good word. That is it's anxiety.
Radiates.
Yeah,
and it was bad at the Michigan game. Like you could just see it in their faces. And I think some of it's the pressure of this $20 million team. Some of it, that Nebraska game, you could see the pressure on it. That, they did respond. They had the touchdown drive in the goal line stand that game. But it was –
a lot of people didn't see it.
Yeah. It was – Nebraska took it to them. And then that was the first game where you kind of saw that they can be beat up front.
Yeah.
And that happened against Michigan. Didn't happen against Indiana. They beat Indiana up front pretty good. But I'm wondering if that anxiety will be real, or will they just say, you know what, it already happened. We already lost to Michigan. It can't get worse than that. Let's just go play free and see what happens. And with 18 to 22-year-olds, that can go either way. And that's what makes this game, to me, by far the most interesting of the weekend. Although I'm excited about tomorrow night. I want to see if Kurt Cignetti's got something for Notre Dame. If they today is Thursday, right? Yeah. They if they get after Notre Dame tomorrow night, I think it's going to be really fun. And I'm not saying that like I don't know where I am, what day it is. It's just been a long week.
I just don't think, Bill, that Indiana, Notre Dame, and Tennessee, Ohio State should have the same spread. I don't look at the differences of those two teams or 4 teams being the same number. And coincidentally, they're both 7.5. Does that make sense to you as you look at each game independently?
Which one do you think will be more competitive?
So I actually think that Notre Dame, Indiana has a chance to get out of hand before Tennessee, Ohio State does. I think Notre Dame is really good. And I think they're tremendous up front. So I worry about I worry about Indiana slowing down the physicality of their run game, and Notre Dame's secondary is spectacular.
I picked Tennessee and Indiana to both cover. Now, Indiana, I see your point, though. If and here's what I'm thinking might happen, but if it doesn't, they're in trouble. I think Indiana, with the weather, might be able to move the ball a little bit on the ground. And if they can do that, Curtis Worker might few throws. Still got Notre Dame winning the game. Better potential for blowout, no question, Notre Dame, Indiana. Ohio State, Tennessee, it's everything we just talked about. It's which one of these Ohio State. Does the Ohio State team that Iowa 35-7 come out of the tunnel? Or does the Ohio State team that kind of played, not scared, but you know what, we just went through it. An anxious team, afraid to make mistakes. Because if they do that, Tennessee will beat them. And then I can't measure how Nico Iamaleava, a Long Beach, California kid, play in cold weather.
Yeah, he's the X factor.
This is what we've been waiting for.
Yeah,
right?
full disclosure, I haven't liked Tennessee all year until now. I'm like, I've never liked Ohio State's psyche. And Tennessee, for all their warts, they are physical. Ohio State will figure that out in a hurry. Tennessee's pretty physical.
And they run the ball well with Sampson. And, for the key will be Nico, though. I saw this week, he said, I played in a 7-7 on Chicago. Well, that's not playing in 22. I mean, it's not. Okay?
It's not it. It's not it.
When
I played 7-on-7.
You guys do it. I'm very naturally cold person, and I've lived here forever. But there, on a day when it's 40, you know what I mean? I'm okay. When it gets down to 20 and 10, I'm like, okay, why did I leave Charlotte again? Why did I come back up here? But it is that will be an interesting part of the weekend. We finally get to see, does weather matter? I mean, sometimes it matters in the NFL for teams like Miami, and sometimes it doesn't.
We're talking with Bill Bender of the Sporting News. Bill, when let's talk about the other point that DB made about Notre Dame, as that's a team that him and I both really like. What is your ceiling for Notre Dame? Do you look at them as a team that can legitimately win the national title?
Yeah, their ceiling is national title. Marcus has done a great job with them. And, I was talking to Joe Theismann about him last week, and he said players coach, and Damon knows this too, players coach is a term that gets misconstrued. Some people, when they hear players coach, they think, oh, he lets them do whatever they want and they love him.
Right.
No, it's a guy that can relate and knows how to communicate with his players.
100%.
Marcus is young, energetic, defensive guy. Yep. He's perfect for Notre Dame, in my opinion.
And he's just Teflon enough, Bill, to absorb kind of the background noise and the chatter, because it's in his DNA to just be authentic. So it doesn't really get to him. So he can overcome a Northern Illinois. You know what I mean?
Exactly. He's had some duds, no question, Northern Illinois and Marshall, but he's also 7-2 against ranked opponents the last 2 years. And they lose Ohio State by one play. I think they're physical on defense. I love their back end. The way they run the ball, I love to just burst into living rooms over the next month. He only gets 11, 12 carries a game. Yeah. But if they give him 15 to 20 carries, it could be even greater. He reminds me a little bit of ETN, how Clemson used him. Big play anytime. And I do think they could, if they can get by Georgia in the second round, I do think Notre Dame probably be in the national championship game.
Yeah.
Bill, want to talk about the game that has the largest spread in the last couple of minutes. We have you here. That Clemson versus Texas game. Texas has been double-digit favorite pretty much since the jump there. I've got it at 12 right now. Does that seem appropriate to you, considering how you feel about each of those teams?
Well, we're all worried about Quinn Ewers' future, that we're not really talking about the present tense.
We got him slotted to be in Columbus. That's not a thing?
Yeah, him and Mike Vrabel. I heard they're a package deal.
Wow. Vrabel, Ewers, man. Oh, by the way, Ohio State plays next year, so we should get Ewers versus Manning and settle it on the field that way. Argue our page views. We would not argue. We like page views here. Texas game, if they run the ball well early, Clemson is in trouble. Clemson in their losses has given up over 200 rushing yards per game to, Georgia, South Carolina. who was their other? Louisville. Louisville ran all over them. So Texas doesn't turn the ball over, going, and their defense could take that game over. But I say all that, yeah, I think Texas will win handily. But they've done that. He showed that in the ACC championship game. I mean, he's coached in 4 CFP championships. So this stage isn't going to be too big for him. I think he's going to let Cade Klubnik let it rip. It could be close for a half, but eventually Texas will take over that game.
Yeah, I think Klubnik's too goofy to know any better. That dude is a slinger. Like, you don't have to worry about him being in awe. He's going to bring it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he threw a bunch of touchdowns this year, but that Texas defense is pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Jade Barron.
They can run.
Front seven's active, and they had Jade Barron. I every time I watch him play, I'm like, can he have a Green Bay uniform? Because we really like him. That once they get that.
Bill, before we let you go here,
I want him to play for the Packers.
There we go.
He's a very good player.
Bill, before we let you go here, real quick, who do you have as your national champion before this whole thing kicks off?
I still have Oregon, but I recognize how tough the path is. I like their offensive and defensive lines. I think Dylan Gabriel, veteran quarterback, and they've just handled it. You know, I think they've been able to handle it. It might not, but in order for this thing to work, we need some surprises. If you want this to be like March Madness, we need an upset this weekend. We need some upheaval in that quarterfinal round. And if we don't get it, people are going to be wondering, hey, why didn't we just do an 18 playoff?
There we go. That's Bill Bender from the Sporting News. Bill, we appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Bill.
And thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
he's funny.
He is. I like Bill a lot. That's a good conversation there. I do agree. You probably need a little bit of chaos for people to really buy in.
Yeah, I know.
But
I'm the fuddy dud sticking the.
Yeah, you're not any fun.
I know, right? Because I said we've had blowouts in the college football playoffs, so I don't want expansion yet and I would give the whole don't change the dress code just to get more people in the party and this, that, and the other. And I've been on that company line, right?
Yeah.
That being said, I can acknowledge you don't see multiple upsets in college football a ton back-to-back weeks in like the regular season. So I don't know why you would in the postseason. But if chalk holds, believe me, it won't be pretty.
You don't think so?
No, but I mean, I'm not going to lie. I love the fact that you have home site games where weather matters.
Yes.
I know that's not for everybody. Like I
agree.
In my former life, I almost got laughed off the set over that because you want football to be played. You don't want to see the Super Bowl played in snow. And no, I don't for pros. I don't.
No, but you see the AFC Championship game played in snow
because there's salary caps and people have to abide by relatively the same amount of
rules.
There's
other guardrails
and
in place.
There's other guardrails in place. In college football, there are not. So I will embrace weather being an equalizer because it's hard to be Michigan and build my team to play in the Big Ten and then have to go play against, Alabama or
on a track.
You know what I mean? So
Well, and let's not pretend like the AFC and NFC championship games aren't played in weather all the time.
We're already talking about whether if Detroit has to play outside.
I mean,
right?
We talked about it with Miami in past years going up to cold weather games.
That's why you don't like Hawk Tua, right?
Let's not pretend. A lot of reasons. But
hater.
I'd like him to retire from football. But
because you care.
Because I don't want to see somebody die on a football field, DB.
That's a little fast-forward-y.
A little, not a lot. Wow. I mean, okay, maybe die's dramatic. I don't want to see somebody have a life-altering concussion or head hit or paralyzation or whatever in front of me on a Sunday. I'd prefer not to witness that.
I understand.
That's not a fun hang for me.
I'm picking up
So
what you put
really, it's selfish. I just don't want to have to watch that. But I mean, one of the most iconic AFC Championship games of all time is the snow game, right? Patriots and Raiders. Not to bring up bad memories for you, Shano, but
selfish.
That
term came up again yesterday in the
what? Selfish?
The Western Kentucky game where they said, Herschlitz. It's like, that's kind of like the tuck rule.
That's no big deal.
I was like, wow, that thing's never going to go away.
No, it's got its own documentary. That's the whole thing.
Sounds like a huge waste of time. Sounds pretty stupid to me.
We had this whole conversation. I remember
Surprise,
having
surprise.
this conversation with you
I don't even recognize what we're doing.
in 3-4 years ago before this all happened. And my argument, I understand your argument. My argument was you're not going to get teams to elevate until they have a seat at the table. So the Boise States of the world
Still, I'll say the same thing now as I said then.
Yeah.
You guys are still all wrong.
I mean, maybe you're wrong.
I won't be.
Hey,
It'll still be. It's just going to be more of the have and have-nots.
Can I ask you guys a
You
question?
guys were trying to throw Cincinnati down my throat. I'm like,
No, I
fellas,
was trying to throw Gonzaga down your
It's
throat.
not. It's not going to happen.
I was throwing Gonzaga at you.
It's not
That's
gonna-
my poster child,
it's
is
not gonna
Gonzaga.
happen.
Is that if you split up the money the way the NCAA tournament does for March Madness, that can start being an equalizer by getting these teams in. I don't know if it will, but that's the idea on my side.
You encourage Cincinnati here for the little people because he told Pat McAfee, hey, we ain't going nowhere.
I'm here for like the Boise State little people and the Arizona State little people, not the Indiana little people.
Can I ask you guys a question real
What
quick?
do you want?
How many Super Bowls did the Patriots go to?
10, 11, 12,
How many times have they cheated really, really bad?
10, 11, 12.
That tuck rule will never, ever,
This dude is
ever
still
go
salty.
away.
Still salty.
How long's it been?
It actually
10, 11, 12.
Times 2.
It actually did go away. They changed the rule immediately, so it doesn't exist
You
anymore.
guys are talking about like tuck rules. I just want a tight end to have had a completion in the playoffs.
What about Justin Tuck?
I mean, Jesse James.
Notre Dame guy, right? Justin
Pitt.
Tuck?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Tuck these. Well, I'm talking about Jesse James at the
Good
moment.
pass
okay?
rusher? Giants?
No.
Mom, get my nuts.
Exactly.
Get my nuts.
It all comes back to Notre Dame, baby.
Right on your forehead.
It all comes back to Notre Dame.
I like Notre Dame. in
I do
this one.
too. I did a little I do a little bowl pick 'em with some friends.
That's nice.
I
I was glad I was invited.
You don't know those friends.
You'd take my entry, wouldn't you?
I don't know. Maybe.
Put your money lotion.
AIG.
You want me to invite you to just some random group of people?
I don't have to be in attendance.
Maybe you do.
Well, then I'm out.
You cannot play that dog.
Yeah. Are they dog lovers?
Some of them.
I get it. Back in your old gated community.
I'll be back.
That's fine.
There are some Miller North guys in there.
It's fine.
You don't hang out with them anyway.
Incredible. Can't just take an entry from a guy. You're not in my club.
None of them know you.
Who cares?
This would be super weird to be like, hey, do you guys want DB's entry in our pool?
Will they not take my $10?
This is like a year-over-year thing. We've been doing this for years.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Years and tears. and-
Context would matters. You didn't say it was like the good old boys club. I ain't never been in that.
Yeah, because I have, all those AIGs in the good old boys club. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla.
More of a progressive guy myself.
More Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next.
We will be back. We will be back. be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, halfway through the show. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. It's about time. It's time for another Omaha Supernovas season starting on January 10th right here at CHI Health Center in Omaha. That's a Friday. Make sure you get your tickets today, supernovas.com. They'll be taking on the Atlanta Vibe, and you'll see an incredible level of talent, everything from Olympians to NCAA champions and All-Americans. Make sure you get your tickets at supernovas.com. We love volleyball. We've got some volleyball coming up here tonight with Nebraska.
Big day.
Big day. Lots going on. We've got the volleyball Final Four starting tonight. We've got a little NFL going on tonight. What else do we got? We got some more bowl games, I bet.
Yeah,
too,
it's
don't we?
Chargers and Donkeys, right?
Oh, for NFL, yeah.
It's must win for Chargers.
Oh yeah. We got Sam Houston State tonight too, as well. Or is it just Sam Houston now? We don't do the state anymore.
I think it's just Sam
Houston. Okay.
Yeah, one of the better color schemes in college football.
I've got a big affinity for Sam Houston. My buddy is the powerlifting coach there.
Oh yeah.
So I will buy their gear, kind of support their powerlifting team and stuff. So I got to actually have a randomly large
Severe's
amount.
a big Sam Houston guy.
Yeah, he went there, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a randomly large amount of Sam Houston gear for that reason.
Their Cats is with a K, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's Bearcats, not their cats. Northwest Missouri State's
like
also
Northwest
the
Missouri
Bearcats,
State.
but with a C.
Are you trying to shake the AIG reference and be funny?
I'm always nice. Always nice, always funny. Very kind.
It'd be a good television night.
Yeah, there's gonna be gotta get the multiple TVs going. Get that set up, or at least the multi-view going.
Yeah,
for sure.
I just hope that they're on the same,
like in the packages.
Yeah, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like network?
Yeah. Although there is one where you can build your own and you get a hodgepodge.
Yeah.
That's doesn't have to be all sports.
But you still,
which I would almost never do.
Yeah, I don't know why you would do that.
Yeah.
I don't really understand the appeal there. But
unless maybe I wanted to see what was going on with like inclement weather, but a sporting event was on.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's fair. Get a little weather check.
Yeah.
Would have been good the other Friday night when the road turned into a skating rink. That was fun.
Just the back and forth on where the mayor was. That was classic. Yeah. Apparently Mike is not a big streetcar guy either. I'm just saying.
I just think it's really funny that they had to the mayor had to address, hey, I live in Omaha.
Not in St. Louis. Knock it off.
My husband hasn't lived in St. Louis since the 80s. It's a little funny.
Which, by the way, I was driving in this morning listening to Canny and Michelle and
Unsportsmanlike. Isn't that what it's called?
I don't know.
I think it's called Unsportsmanlike.
Okay, that show.
Yeah,
and because I always like the Pat segment where he's like, "I'm fed up."
Yeah,
but they got into this deal because Michelle's she's a St. Louis person, and she was asking the equivalent. This is on the heels of like
Nelly?
Country Grammar,
St. Lunatics.
Air Force Ones too, by the way. Overrated shoe from a level of comfort standpoint.
Agreed.
But they do look pretty sweet.
Yeah. Anyway,
Team Dunk too, but
Michelle,
she was talking about the St. Louis fandom of like Cardinal fan. And it's such a winning franchise, and it got my attention because that was the one franchise that I would always say, even though they have been notorious Dodger killers in the postseason, that's a franchise that I would like the Dodgers to be ran like. Always in the hunt.
Yeah. You respect how they operate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a couple championships. So they were looking for the NFL equivalent. And I about kicked Pat off the show because he said the Giants.
Steelers.
So that's where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
And somebody asked, it might have been Canny, if like Tomlin was coaching in St. Louis, would he be on the hot seat? And she said, absolutely. And I just was like, really? I don't know.
Aren't they 10-4?
Yeah, I think to her point was St. Louis fans are up in arms, and they still had a winning record last year.
Yeah,
right. It's consistently a good franchise.
Yeah.
Like you have a World Series, in the last 15 years or whatever it is. It's maybe multiple.
10, I think.
Yeah. So it's like baseball's hard.
Yeah,
and there's still like St. Louis. The baseball team is in a weird place, right?
They did have a couple.
Goldschmidt could be on the move. It's just
they did have a couple down years before this year too. So that I think kind of.
Well, when you fired Schilt, he was still pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I felt like, and got a real short leash after the one shaky year too.
I don't necessarily view St. Louis as a reactive fan base though. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Like that's not the vibe that I get.
They are a model of consistency.
Yeah, and maybe I'm confusing the franchise with the fan base because I think the franchise is very measured and very level-headed. So I think I assume the fan base is that way. But I would assume that about Steelers fans too, but I don't know if that's accurate.
Yeah.
Like I would assume Steelers fans
they're pretty they're pretty level-headed.
That's what I would think because I don't know that you can I think it's harder to run a franchise that way if your fans aren't like on board with kind of what you're doing.
Would the Steelers be the NFL equivalent?
I don't know about fan base, but in terms of a franchise, yes, I think. Really solid, always. Like that's the.
So Pat tried to say the Giants, and they about kicked him out.
No.
He was like, "Listen, they won 2 Super Bowls, and
he's focusing too much on the championships over the period of time, and not on the year to year.
Yeah, because that's what they were getting.
Yeah.
On him
The
about.
floor's
They've
too
had
low.
Some really bad.
The floor's way too low. You have to go with a high floor team that occasionally reaches higher on their ceiling. If you want to go college football, it's Iowa. Like, this is the floor. And then occasionally you get that 11-win year. Occasionally you reach higher. Now, they've never reached through for a championship. I get that. But that's the type of model you're talking about with St. Louis or Pittsburgh. That's why I think it's pretty clearly Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I don't even know who else would be in the conversation.
So if Nebraska's floor was higher, would we be okay as a fan base?
For a while. We're more reactive, though. We're a much more reactive fan base. We would be okay in the short term because the floor being higher is a dramatic improvement from where we've been.
Just thinking about, and I watch these guys practice here coming up, and kind of my eye and like what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And if this is in fact like the first game of the next season, it's obviously going to set expectation levels.
Sure. Yeah.
Not this one particular game, but I mean, people are already piecing together a potential 2 deep.
Mm-hmm.
And,
could I make the argument that Nebraska from 1973 until 1992 was the Cardinals?
I'm probably going to listen to that more than most.
Really high floor?
Because I think Nebraska's success
was a little overstated over that time period.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I think it was more of an anomaly than the norm.
But
for what this state brings to the table.
A really high floor. Occasionally, 83 reached into the higher realm of being better than pretty good.
Yeah.
Right? But consistently was going to give you a minimum level of excellence. That, and this goes to the fan base, maybe this is why Nebraska's in that time period is closer to St. Louis, still had some reactionary fans that maybe wanted to get rid of Tom Osborne in 86. Maybe we're not that happy with, or 76. Maybe we're not that happy with him in the late 80s, early 90s as they were getting their heads beat in by more athletic teams, but still winning 9 or 10 wins a year.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I think there's a 2-decade stretch from early 70s to early 90s that you can make an argument that Nebraska was the Cardinals.
And the only reason it's sticking with me is, and I hate saying this out loud, I do.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love to be the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Well, then why don't I enjoy being the Dodgers?
Because you feel like, I think this, if I was a Dodgers fan,
like we should be winning championships.
Yeah, for what you spend, for what you invest, for the resources. The Dodgers are Ohio State. The floor is never that low, but for what they invest, you want more. You expect more, and to a reasonable extent. Right? Like that's...
Shane, toss me that bar of soap.
The Boston Red Sox or Texas A&M?
I'd love to be the Cardinals. Actually, that sounds disgusting.
Better than the Giants, right?
San Francisco?
Yeah.
I would never say that.
I know. The Red Sox are Texas A&M. They have all the money in the world. They cannot figure it out.
Okay. Gosh bless it. So these schools that you're bringing up, like the expectation level, aren't these the schools that we thought expansion was going to help?
Theoretically.
I'm telling you, man, you guys.
I don't know who we is.
You jumped the gun.
I don't know who we is. I thought it would help the Boise States of the world. That's who I thought it would help. I don't know about the Texas A&Ms of the world because sometimes you can't help yourself. You know the old saying, money can't buy class? That's Texas A&M. Or money can't buy taste?
Shots fired.
You can have all the money in the world. If you don't know what players to buy, it doesn't do you a whole hell of a lot of good. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla, Brian Edwards coming up next.
will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Wrapping up hour number 2 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We are waiting for our guy B. Edwards to hop in the stream here.
I think he's here.
Looks like we've got him now. Brian Edwards, our Vegas insider, MajorWager.com. What is going on, B?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are we?
Oh, the mic works. There we go.
It's no fun when you get it right, B. I like a few more variables, man. Just can't come out swinging. I don't know how to pitch you.
Well, you can get it. Go ahead.
I'm pissed at your Gators for your basketball Gators for what they did to North Carolina the other day in the Jumpman Classic. We didn't play very smart down the stretch, but you guys have a really good basketball coach down there in Florida.
Yeah, it was a good win for us, man. Y'all stormed back in the second half. I thought it was game, set, match, like with 5 minutes left in the first half. And, man, that freshman played really good. R.J. Davis played fantastic, but I couldn't believe he missed his front end.
Jackson's going to be a stud. We just can't make free throws. And you guys do make free throws.
And R.J. Davis, isn't he like isn't he one of the best free throw shooters in UNC history? And he missed two front ends in the last minute.
In the history of the school. Yes, that R.J. Davis.
And that's a storied history.
After hitting like ridiculous pull-ups from like 18 feet, we just can't make a little 15-footer with nobody, not even blowing in his ear. But anyway, I'm not mad about it. at all. Yes, I am.
I missed the Blue Jays last night. What happened? Is Georgetown that much better this year? I guess so.
That's a. Go ahead.
Creighton's not very good at basketball.
No, that's not what I would say.
No,
their floor is a lot lower than it has been in some years for Coach Mack.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Tough.
When things don't go well, it's gonna
It can go south
It
in a
could
hurry.
get super ugly.
I still don't know if anybody's good in the Big East, though. I'm watching this conference. I'm like,
Marquette.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dayton just had to hang on the other night at home. And I don't know. College basketball is weird. It's going to be interesting. That's why we pay you the big bucks, B.
Yeah, I'm running a little late on my non-SEC hoops, but I'll get there. I'll be there in like 2-3 weeks.
All right, so here we go. Let's we got bowl games today. I enjoy them. NIL, whatever, transfer portal. I'm watching. Georgia Southern laying the 4 in the hook against some of the better uniforms in college football with Sam Houston.
Yeah, so now I've tried to Twitter search like the key players for Sam Houston that have hit the portal. They've had 19 guys hit the portal. But I mean, I don't know who might be playing. Western Kentucky's quarterback hit the portal and he played yesterday. Tulane's quarterback Ty Thompson's hitting the portal, but he plays tomorrow against the Gators. I did Twitter searches on like the best guys of the 19 for Sam Houston that have hit the portal. There's like no information. I mean, so they've had 6 defensive linemen hit the portal. One of their better linebackers, Trey Fields. Their leading wide receiver, Simeon Evans. Their QB2, who gets in, who also gets in some to run the ball, etc. They're running back with 479 rushing yards. So I don't know if any of these guys are playing, but I'm guessing most of them aren't. And I might have liked Georgia Southern anyway. Georgia Southern's won 6 of its last 8, 5-2-1 against the spread. So give me Georgia Southern, who's only had 3 guys hit the portal. I'll go Georgia Southern minus 4.5 or 5.
All right, B, let's jump over to tomorrow night. Your very own Florida Gators, your favorite coach on campus, Billy Napier, is an 11.5-point favorite against Tulane, a pretty good Tulane squad. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good about the Gators now. In general, you don't lay points with Napier, just going back to his Louisiana days, and you take him as underdog in terms of his underdog ATS record and favorite record. But Darian Minshaw gone to Duke, the star quarterback for Tulane, but they do have Ty Thompson. It is his first career start, but he played, in 15 games at Oregon in 2 years. He's played this year enough to, run for 243 yards and 6 touchdowns. But Florida's defense played well down the stretch. They only gave up 16 to LSU, 17 to Ole Miss, 11 to Florida State. And Tulane finished the year with a dud. I mean, they lost by double digits at home to Memphis as a double-digit favorite. Then they got run out at Army, and now they don't have their star quarterback. Now, Florida's had a good bit of defections to the portal, but really only like 3 or 4 players that, play a lot. And I think that's actually pretty good for portal defections before the bowl game. And the location advantage in Tampa. I think the motivation advantage, Florida did not go to a bowl game this year. They're on a roll. They want to finish strong. I'll lay the 11.5 with the Gators. I'll probably be on minus 6.5 in the first half as well.
Of all the games this weekend, this next one is the toughest to cap. I'll tell you why. All year long, I've never thought Tennessee was very good. They don't have a ton of good wins, if any. But I would be like, ooh. But they were safe as a kitten with like 2 or 3 weeks left to play in college football. So apparently they did something right. And I know Ohio State's talented, but they never look very good. I have no idea where to peg where Ohio State is emotionally with the cloud and day in Michigan versus I have no idea what I'm going to get from Nico. How'd you cap this thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't disagree with anything you just said there. I think all of that is spot on. But at the end of the day, capping it, I got to give Tennessee the quarterback advantage. Although I know Nico can be all over the place at times, but 19-5 TD-INT ratio. I just like him more than Howard. And I like Josh Heupel better than I like Todd Day. And I know Tennessee can run the ball well. Dylan Sampson, 1,485 rushing yards, 22 touchdowns. It might be 13 degrees. So I think running the ball is going to be key. And Tennessee's ninth in the nation in rushing yards. I'm not implying I'm betting a lot on this game, but I'm going Tennessee plus 7.5.
Gotcha.
The biggest spread of the college football opening weekend of the playoff, Clemson is a 12-point dog at Texas. I don't know that I trust Quinn Ewers, but I don't know that I trust.
I just wonder how Clemson's going to get stops.
Yeah, I don't know that I trust Clemson's defense either. What do you think here, B?
I just think Clemson's going to be able to score enough to hang in there. I got to go Clemson plus 12, but Texas is 2-4 against the spread. Last 6 is a double-digit favorite, and one of the spread covers was when the Gators had a third-string quarterback playing in his second career game in his first career start. Again, none of these playoff games are like large bets for me. But I am going to go Clemson plus 12, and it's probably the one I like the most out of these 4 CFP games in the first round, but that's still not saying much. I would still say Clemson's probably just like an average medium-sized play for me, plus the 12.
On to Notre Dame and Indiana. You've got some interesting – you like Indiana here, right? But you might wait to bet it to see what the number goes to?
Yeah, I think I put them in a little teaser with Penn State. But it's not a big teaser. I want Notre Dame to score early. I would like Indiana catching double digits if I can get that in a live line, in the first half. I don't think the weather really matters to either team. They're both from the same state. I mean, Curtis Rourke's from Canada, so dude's used to throwing in the cold weather. I want to be on Indiana. I just don't really think 7's enough. But, I mean, I think there's a decent chance Notre Dame gets an early lead. And so I'm going to be looking to back my guys in Signetti and Indiana. But I want to get double digits. But I think I've got a good chance to do that with a live wager. And that's when I'll get – I mean, I'm not implying super aggressive. But that's when I'll get, really involved. If that occurs. I hope it occurs.
Yeah, I've seen you go on some crazy runs knowing conferences and teams for years. I've joked about the Bama first halves, and I mean, they're just teams you can lock in on. Is Indiana been your safest play? Okay.
Yeah, Indiana's been they've been my stud hoss this year, if you will. Just pretty much, they got to be pretty much an automatic play. But
even better than the Commanders.
Well, here, that's interesting. Well, here, I'm going to Indiana's ATS line. So I started betting them against UCLA, had them again against Charlotte, again against Maryland, again against Northwestern, again against Nebraska, again against Washington, again against Sparty. I lost with them. Well, I won the first half against Michigan. I lost with them for the game. Lost on Ohio State, and then I passed on Purdue. So what's that? 2 losses and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins. So 7-2. I think I was 7-0-1 on the Commanders for a bit, and then I lost 3, and then I didn't play them, and then I lost last week, but I got robbed by the officials in that clock stoppage.
Oh.
So yes, better percentage than the Commanders.
How
about that clock stoppage? I was at the bar with no volume, and I didn't even realize it.
We didn't even get to that. That was not good. And
McAfee said, it didn't matter gambling wise. Oh, come on, Pat. A lot of us bet Commanders -7 early.
Yeah, it was 7.
Right? So, I mean, I'll take a push over an L.
100%.
We do. We will take a push over an L. B, real quick, what do you have for the Bengals for us?
Team total over 27.5. I know the Browns got a good defense, but I don't think they're going to move it with DTR, and the Bengals offense is on fire.
That's our guy, Brian Edwards, Vegas Insider, Major Wager. What's up, B? Have a good week. Enjoy the game.
Merry Christmas, guys. We'll see y'all.
You got it.
You too, buddy. We will be back. More Hurrdat Sports Radio with Michael Bruntz, Husker 24/7, coming up next.
be back. We will be back. We will be back. Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Kicking off hour number 3. You're on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, and KFOR in Lincoln for this third hour. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We are joined now by our friend, our Thursday friend, Michael Bruntz, Husker 24/7. What's up, Bruntz?
Much. How's it going?
Hi, Mike. How are things?
Not bad.
Sounds weird when you call him Mike. I don't like it.
I don't love it. I don't. I just said it just to change it up a little.
Sorry, Bruntz. Didn't mean to cut you off there.
What's the government?
No.
Is it Michael?
Sorry?
Is Michael on your government?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay. Does anybody call you Michael?
My mom, my wife, occasionally my kids when they're making fun of me, and
that is incredible. Are you?
I think that's it.
Okay.
That's the list.
Time
That's
out.
the list.
Time out.
Need a 30 or a full?
No, we're getting a full.
Okay.
Bruntz, please tell me you're not one of these young guys that let your kiddos get away with using your first name.
No, I mean it's usually because I've no, definitely not. It's
Oh,
like
now you're not. This is the firm, Michael.
No, we don't do that. Yeah, it's well, it's usually because I've started it, so it's probably my fault. But yeah, we don't do that.
Oh boy.
in this house.
Okay.
Bruntz don't play that.
Yeah. Homie. like homie. Hey, Bruntsy. Who's the second best team in the AFC West?
The second best team in the AFC West? It's my Denver Broncos.
Are you sure?
Well, who would it be?
Well, they're going to play a team tonight. You may be able to
Chargers.
figure that out. I don't know.
I don't think so.
No? Is
No,
it because you had Bo Nix as AFC Rookie of the Year?
Well, I didn't have that, but I did see the Chargers get their fannies waxed on last week. So
put that on the board for terms we did not use. Fanny.
We haven't used fanny. Yeah, that's a good one.
I would give a slight edge to Denver in the number 2. It's a good division. The Raiders suck, but everybody else is pretty good. And are we concerned that Justin Herbert is going to get into Mike Trout territory? Like, is that possible for him?
Yeah, gonna need my homie to go someplace.
Are we sure he's not already there?
Relax. He's got plenty of time.
That's what we thought about Trout, and then he broke his back, and now we're like, well, that just might be the career.
Oh, he actually will change positions though. Give him some
Trout.
longevity. Yeah, plus it's
or Justin Herbert.
It's Trout's fault for not wanting to leave though, Bruntz.
Well, I know. I just mean a guy that you would say is supremely talented, which I think he is, who is just stuck in a really lousy situation, which I think he could be.
So
he's got Trout's only got him on career playoff games 3-1 right now.
That's a lot funnier than it should be. Bruntz,
it's the delivery.
Let me ask you here. So you like Denver over the Chargers. Would you? I'm assuming you would take Justin Herbert over Bo Nix if they could just switch spots today.
At today, yes, I would take that.
Would you
take that trade?
Would you swap Jim Harbaugh for Sean Payton today?
I'm gonna say no right now.
Ooh, interesting.
Oh, you gave that a lot of thought.
Last year, would you have switched?
Earlier this season, I probably would have taken that trade. But I will not take that trade currently.
Okay.
And I do wonder, as you guys are well aware, there's a shelf life for Jim Harbaugh at every stop. I'm curious to see what it's going to be in Los Angeles.
Somewhere probably slightly shorter than the one that they have for Peyton.
Yes. I mean, yeah. I would not take the trade because I'm just kind of. Here's what concerns me is once the coaching carousel starts spinning in the NFL, I'm curious to see what Denver's defensive coaching staff will look like next year. And that's been. I mean that's really kind of carried everything this year for the most part. So that gives me a little bit of pause on the Peyton for Harbaugh trade.
There we go. Bruntz, is there anybody on? I'm going to switch gears here on you. Is there anybody in the portal for Nebraska that you would trade for somebody that they've gotten out of the portal?
Let me get my list here.
You got to probably start with Daniels. So you got long snapper.
Enwineri. You got Gallick. You've got Daniels.
So somebody that they've gotten that I would trade.
That you would trade back for somebody that's leaving.
I kind of watch. I have to watch Daniels a little more. But I would think maybe somebody along the D line you may swap back out. But they apparently like Daniels quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was curious to see what another year of Jamari Butler would look like.
Fair.
For 25.
We've seen so many though, and I'm a big JB guy.
Yeah, I mean, a healthy year for him. I don't know what that would have looked like.
Yeah.
Maybe another year of Bayer. I mean, it felt like something was happening there, but I do like.
I can't explain
Shavers and what they can do there.
I can't explain this, Bruntz. I really can't, unless I don't know. Maybe like if we're just sitting in the press box over some oatmeal cookies, I could be better. But I don't know why the Bear thing didn't move my needle at all.
Mine either.
Like I think to myself, I've watched so much, and he's a good player, right? You don't amass that many tackles and not be able to play, but he was so feast or famine.
Yeah.
I don't. But that's really the techie coach in me, right? So this is totally not like this. It's just he just was so boom or bust. It didn't move my needle at all.
Yeah, I think part of the reason I would say that just for next season is as it stands today, I don't know what that picture looks like. Like in terms of. Like, do they have three guys right now that you can point to and say, like, this is the rotation at linebacker next year? That would be the only thing. Because I think there's, I think there's possibilities there, but I think in terms of, like, proven production, Steph Thompson leaving didn't really move the needle for me at all. But
you want a guy that if this was a drug, right? And you could give an I believe in me pill to someone. Like, I believe in me. Like, you could like will yourself into existence. You know who I would give that to for Nebraska, Bruntz?
Who's that?
Michael Booker Jr. Book has all the fit. If you just watch Book for like 20 minutes of practice, you'd be like, this dude is incredible. Watch him on special teams. He's a demon. But he's got a lot of his dad's good nature, super easygoing. Like I wish he thought better of himself as a player than everybody else. Because I'm telling you, physically, that dude is as gifted as anybody they have. And that's not hyperbole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I would just be curious to see if he could evolve. I mean, it's a long shot, but just this whole development thing and kind of young guys and now having a chance to be the guy. Like, Booker's got a ton of ability.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that's the one spot that I have just a little bit of trepidation about going into next season.
I hear you.
Because asking a freshman to come in and man that position right away, that's a tall ask. And
I don't think they'll do that, Bruntz.
No, I don't think so either. And I do think, though, like, I think you need three. Like, I've liked the way that they've rotated.
Yeah.
I like the way more so that they did it in 2023 than maybe 2024. But I just don't know that they have three right now that I'd be like, okay, this is a group that I could roll with for 12 games and feel good about.
Yeah, I just don't, contrary to popular belief, I don't think there's a young guy that they recruited on that could play on the inside next year.
Yeah.
I just
don't. That's fair.
I don't. It's a hard position. It's very demanding, and it's not easy in this defense. Got to be a dude. Let me ask you this, Bruntz, as you're kind of looking at what Nebraska's doing in the portal with visits, and they've kind of lost out here on a couple of guys late because it seems like the same, pick a number, 75 or 100 guys are being courted by the same schools. Do you get that sense, or is Nebraska going to be one of those teams that can still, and I know Coach Rule hates this term, but kind of diamond in the rough it?
Are you suggesting they're bargain shopping? Is that what you're saying?
I
do the $5 DVD bin. Is that what they're doing here?
Yes, they are the Shane Schillenbergs of college football. No, I do think they want to be efficient. I think they want to be very fiscally savvy.
Yeah, I think your point about, especially like the first wave of guys that went in the portal, there's very much a feeding frenzy around. I'd say it's probably a little bit more than 75, but like I think you're right there, where it's like these are the guys that the second they hit probably before they hit the portal, they've got all sorts of opportunities and offers, and people are throwing really big numbers around, and I think Nebraska is going to be smart in its approach. I think they're also going to swing for the fences when they have the chance to swing for the fences. I mean, when you just kind of look at the needed offensive tackle, they're bringing in very well sought after tackles to visit. I mean they've been really aggressive there, and I think Nebraska can do that. I do think I think a lot of schools are kind of figuring out that there's a little bit more value, even if a guy played at a FCS school or a lower FBS, that there's a ton of value in production, and I think that's kind of been the lesson in some ways of the portal as it's gone along, is you kind of need to value that if you expect some bang for your buck, rather than a guy that's been at an SEC school that never played or something like that. I mean, if you're taking a guy like that, it's probably because the tools are off the charts, or there's some kind of traits that you feel like you can really bring along. So I do think Nebraska's being fairly prudent. I think though that they're being very calculated in who they're bringing in. It's been this kind of steady drumbeat of 2 guys here, or 3 guys there, and I think that's a good approach to it. And I like the way that they've also done it, where it doesn't feel like it's like this big show. It's just we're doing bowl practices. This is how we work. Come check it out. You can talk dollars and cents over here and all that stuff, but I'm kind of curious to see kind of where this goes. And I mean, you still have all the playoff teams that are going to have guys hopping in. I think there's going to be another kind of a little bit more robust round maybe in the spring than what there was last year as teams cut down. So I think a little bit of conservative approach to it's okay for the most part.
We're talking with Michael Bruntz, Husker 24/7. Bruntz, do you think it's possible that you mentioned the home run swings and kind of being a little bit more conservative? You think it's possible they've looked at the landscape of what's going to be in the portal sometime between now and July 1st and said, hey, we can add depth pieces later because there's going to be guys just out there with nowhere to go. We might as well take the home run swings now.
Yeah, well, and I think, Sierra Wright's a good example of that, right? Like, one of your best cornerbacks this year towards the end of the season wasn't even on your roster in June, So I think there's always going to be guys like that pop up, and certainly, Nebraska's shown, whether it's high school recruiting or portal recruiting or whatever, that they're more than willing to, really look under every rock and find guys that, can help them. So I don't know. I mean, I think I don't know that anybody really has this kind of setup right now in 2024 and 2025 with the portal figured out. I think everybody's kind of going along, seeing what works. I mean, there's certainly the Texas Tech approach with what they're doing right now.
Kind of weird. They must got some resources.
Yeah, the energy markets must be doing pretty well, I guess. So
lot of land, man.
The tortilla futures are through the roof. I do think that. You got to take your swings now because there are needs. Nebraska needs tackles. They need wide receivers, and you're going to have to take your swings now, but kind of know that maybe there's going to be stuff down the road too, to where you don't need to kind of just go crazy right now if you don't feel like the guys that are out there are going to fit you.
Bruntz, as you kind of look at, let's shift to players that are actually on this team on bowl prep as we come up close to a week out. We'll hear from some of those guys today. Is there, as we assume a lot of young guys are going to play in roles, expanded roles that we haven't seen from them yet, is there a guy or group of guys that you're particularly interested in watching in the Pinstripe Bowl, or do you think you can learn something from this for some of the future guys?
Yeah, I think you can. I think if you think of the bowl game as more of the first game of 2025 and not the kind of punctuation on 2024, I think there's a lot that you can kind of look at in this game to, see what it's going to look like for next year. I'm sure that for those young defensive backs, these bowl practices have been pretty darn important. That group is going to be turning over a lot going into next year. I'm curious to see if we see any of those guys in the bowl game, just based on guys who've left and need and who's around. I think you're going to get a much different picture at the defensive line. More of a featured role for Riley Van Poppel, even though he's kind of been the short yardage guy. I'm curious to see what that looks like. And so that's kind of where, my eye goes for now. I think the other thing, not player wise, but what does this offense look like with basically a month to prepare for this game and try different things and kind of mold the offense a little bit more to the personnel rather than, Dana Holgerson kind of running off of an old play sheet and kind of trying to make it work. I think that's kind of intriguing for this game as well. So I think there's a lot of reasons to watch this game. It's funny, like everything right now is just portal. And, the reality is you've got a game that's going to be kind of intriguing because for teams like Nebraska that were really old at certain spots in 2024, because of guys leaving and everything else, I think you're going to get a look at some guys that are going to be really important next season.
Are you surprised or you like it or whatever? What do you think when you hear Nebraska staff and their coaches say things like, we had a really good developmental practice at this stage of the season?
That's the point, right? Like that's what you've been missing for 105 practices that you've missed out on.
I don't know. Yeah, some people around here, it's overblown and not that big of a deal, but
yeah, it's for those young guys, it matters. If you basically have, for the first couple of weeks, we're not having the old guys in there doing much and really kind of doing the developmental stuff, that matters. I think probably in the portal era too, it helps keeping those young guys engaged with kind of what the future looks like and where they fit in and all that other stuff. So, that's good to hear. We'll see if it plays out on the field, but I think when you just kind of think of the sheer number of opportunities for development and coaching and everything else that this program's missed out on since this bowl streak's happened, it's kind of remarkable. And I understand, like, most, every practice isn't going to be perfect and not, completely valuable or whatever, but like that's just crazy that programs around the country have been practicing and getting better that much longer than Nebraska has. And, by this time, most years guys have been already heading home for Christmas and all that other stuff. So it's a big deal. It really is. I don't think it's overselling that.
What do you think happens with Zay Hunter from Cal?
I think Nebraska's in a good spot for him. It's what K-State and Nebraska. He's the kind of guy that I think Nebraska. I think they had those types of guys last year, but weren't really able to take advantage of.
He was really good against SMU. I know they got blown out, but he was productive, and that was pretty recent. I think that was the 30th, maybe, whatever November, the last whatever November.
Well, it's the production thing. He's been productive at another stop. He's still young in his career, so I don't know. I mean, I guess to be like a strong rotational player type starter player in an offense run by Dana Holgorsen, that seems like a pretty attractive thing, I would guess. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think Nebraska really likes him. I think he's a little bit different than the other wide receivers who have visited so far, especially Rivers that ended up at Georgia Tech. So,
isn't that something?
How different they are?
Just how quickly he decided on like that night. It was like, wait, what happened?
Yeah, I think he graduated yesterday and signed with Georgia Tech. So big day over there. But yeah, that's just how it works, I guess. But I think Nebraska's in a good spot, with Hunter. So we'll see what happens.
Bruntz, I don't want to put you on too much of a spot here, but are there obviously we know the names of a lot of the guys that have visited Nebraska over the last few days. You mentioned some of the offensive tackles. Is there a guy that you feel particularly good about Nebraska landing that hasn't committed yet?
Idaho, maybe?
The D-back? Marshall?
Yeah, Marshall?
I don't know, though.
That one still feels a little early.
You're right. Yep. Team Bruntz there.
I mean, I think Hunter's I think they're in a good spot for Hunter. I mean, you look at what they have to offer. I mean, I think they're going to at least get a good swing at it. So, and anytime you're kind of down to the last two, you like those. You like the coin flip, I guess. But we'll see.
Yeah, Keegan and those guys are in the portal now at K-State. There's there's availability.
Yeah.
That's our guy, Michael Bruntz, Husker 24/7. Bruntz, hope you have good holidays with the fam and everything like that. We will talk to you again soon.
You're the man, Bruntz.
All right, see you guys.
See you.
Yeah, take care.
We will be back. More Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next.
We will be back. 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 Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, Campawar, and Lincoln. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. It is time for Bet On It, brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook, the best place in Nebraska to place your sports bets. Make sure you get to warhorsecasino.com for all their promotions and details. And you can get out to the Lincoln or Omaha locations to check out their facilities. I was down at the Lincoln one
Lincoln.
couple weeks ago. It's a beautiful place down there.
Is it?
Gorgeous. Yeah.
It's brand new, right?
Brand new. Yeah, and they're redoing the one here in Omaha as well, the whole sportsbook area. So it's going to be great. It's going to be beautiful.
So how's the food over there? It used to be fantastic. I know
I haven't eaten there as they've been doing the remodeling and stuff.
It's not actually that far from me. That's what, about 68th and
it's 66th and Q, I think.
Q.
Yeah, so it's pretty close to you.
Yeah.
Just right down the street.
Roughly. No, it is.
No, I mean really, it's just right down the street there.
Huh.
But no, I haven't been to the one in Omaha since they've been remodeling. Omaha. But I have been to the one in Lincoln. It's gorgeous. They're doing a great job over there. We love it.
Yeah. We're not counting UNLV yesterday, right? Because I just kind of said that in passing.
I mean, we can. I put you on the spot.
No, man, you put me on the spot. So just 1-1 yesterday with, what did you call it? The Isaac Trout Classic?
Yeah, the Isaac Trout Special.
Yeah.
Virginia and Creighton.
Yes.
Yeah, I probably should have known better on Creighton. Here's the thing that I'm starting to wonder with Creighton Blue Jays, right?
And Virginia took a miracle.
Yeah.
But I felt like they owed me from Carolina.
They did owe you. They kind of hosed you on that one.
Yeah.
I'm starting to wonder if we'll have a much better idea of who this Creighton team is if we forget the Kansas game.
Just as the outlier?
Yeah.
So this is one thing you may have to do, though. Unless you're that floor is really, really low guy, would you be willing to throw out Georgetown? Or you feel like they have another one of those duds in them?
I mean, San Diego State's probably better than Georgetown, but that's a pretty similar dud in terms of what that looked like. And honestly,
San Diego State played so hard.
And I think Nebraska's better than Georgetown also, but that's another dud that just Creighton didn't look like they had any answers if the shots don't go in.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, it's the off the bounce thing.
Yeah, there's none of it. They don't have any of it.
And listen, it's like DeMarinis was saying, when you're a no middle team like Nebraska, did you see how Georgetown was icing all those ball screens?
Mm-hmm.
Like even Mike is like, they just want to keep the ball. They just want to keep it on one side of the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like it's just amazing how you're so limited.
Yeah, how it completely neuters the offense.
Neuters.
I mean, it does, right? Just chops those things right off. And you're just left out there in the cold.
Get my nuts.
And what are you talking about, Shane? It's a really hard way to make a living offensively if you're Creighton. If you can't compromise the defense in any way, which they can't.
Yeah.
The only thing they can do is try not to turn it over for 25 seconds and then take a deep three and hope it goes in. That's the offense right now.
Seems a little.
Am I wrong?
I think their shot selection has not been good, and maybe they are settling because they cannot get into an offense.
They can't get into an offense. They can't get into the lane on penetration. They can't get the ball.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when they called the timeout after Ashworth shot Neal shot the wing three that was hit the side. And then Ashworth shot the one from like 32.
Yep.
Got the time. I just would have liked to have been a fly on the wall. How about how he just pulled Neal after he inexplicably just dribbled it out of bounds? He looked around. He was like, yeah, sub, Davis, go.
And I don't know. There's no answers there for what ails them, right? Because there's nobody on the bench that you can look to and say, okay, we might have to live with some growing pains with this guy, but he's got the skill set that could be useful to us. That guy doesn't exist on the roster.
And I know the value wins aren't there yet for Georgetown, but did they look like a 9-2 team? Because that's exactly what they are this morning.
No, that's not a great basketball team. Like
I'd be curious.
I don't even know if that's a good basketball team. But what I do know is that if Fedor Zugic doesn't get eligible, Creighton may not make the NIT. That's a bad basketball team.
Wow.
They're going to get eaten alive by teams that know how they play offense because there's nothing they can do.
You said NIT, right?
Yeah. If Fedor doesn't get eligible within a month minimum or maximum,
they'll get him right after the first of the year.
I'm just saying. I hope you're right.
Me too.
But if they've got about 3 weeks for him to get eligible and start playing before this is maybe not an NIT team. That's how low the floor is to me because teams in their conference know how to defend them already. If they can't beat you on the bounce and they can't get the ball to Kalkbrenner, they're not going to score. They're going to win a few games they shouldn't because they get hot from three. That's it.
They got to find a way to get back to the foul line too.
They also need to find a way to defend. Can we not I know I've talked a lot about offense here, but we saw them defend, and I know Kansas runs a trash offense.
Yeah, because I was going to say, for as low as their statistical point total was, they did shoot whatever 12 of 33 is.
I mean, it's a little 37%, 36.
Okay.
So not terrible.
Yeah.
Right? Like you'd live with that.
Yeah. But
the defense is terrible. Like truly awful, especially considering the anchor you have. I don't know if they just haven't figured out identity-wise that they have to play games in a certain way, maybe like they did a few years ago when this group was young, the Trey Alexander group was young, and figure that out. But they're trying to play like they still have Baylor Shireman and Trey Alexander. They don't have anybody that resembles those guys on this team, either in skill set or overall talent level currently. Then you might have some guys. I like Ty Davis a little bit. I like Jackson McAndrew a little bit, or more than a little bit. But those guys aren't at the point right now where you can play the way you did the last couple of years and survive. It's pretty ugly, and you can bet on that. I'll give you that one.
Oh, Ravi.
Maybe take some.
Let's not act like Georgetown's going to go 10 of 16 from three again, though.
No, they're not.
Or whatever.
But
it was. Yeah.
Part of that's the atrocious defense.
10 of 16, though.
Horrifying defense.
They won't do that again.
No, they won't. But I'm not. I do think Creighton's going to put up that bad of a defensive effort again. So they might not go 10 of 16 again, but there's a lot better shooting teams than Georgetown on your schedule.
57 minus 29. So they scored 28 and 29 respectively.
Yeah, they were very consistent. But they gave up, a 50 burger in the second half almost? Fun stuff.
Yeah, because it was 34.
34, 28 at half.
Yeah.
And what, 83? Was that the final number?
Yes, indeed.
So
87-51.
80, yeah, so more than a 50 burger. That Creighton will put up that bad of a defensive
I don't know.
effort.
I guess you if you assume that there's going to be that of a stinker again.
I think so.
Okay.
Now, maybe getting Fedor eligible changes the dynamic of that team to the point where you can play fast, and then that sort of puts some things into place. You can put Mason Miller back on the bench, or maybe Jemiah Neal back on the bench, and figure some things out that way where people are shifted more into a role that's appropriate for them, and that loosens some things up. That's why I said you've got about 3 weeks for him to get eligible in order for that to be even a hope of a tournament team.
Yeah. So we'll finish up yesterday 1-on-1 with Meet Virginia.
And
Creighton.
We do have some games today though.
There's a couple that I like a lot.
Do you like the NFL game at all? We've got Broncos, Chargers.
I would be a lean to the Chargers.
But not a lock.
I would take the Chargers, or I wouldn't play it.
Lean with it, rock with it. No lock with it.
Rock with it. Lean with it. Rock.
What do we like? Do you like George? You like Sam Houston tonight?
100%.
The plus 4.5.
Yep.
Is that one of your locks?
Lock it up.
Lock it in.
Lock up the Bearcats. Hi, boss.
What do we like for anything in college basketball tonight that you're feeling?
This is just a team that I happen to know.
Yeah. Somebody that you used to know?
So it's going to be 1.5. You might like the money line because I think it's somewhere around this morning early. So minus 120 on the money line.
Mm-hmm.
But Oakland will win on the road at Cleveland State.
That is a deep cut, my guy.
Oakland will win on the road at Cleveland State.
Big Horizon League guy?
I am, actually.
Speaking of the Horizon League.
Do you know I am a Horizon League guy?
You love Doug Gottlieb?
No, but wow. I'll let you get to that in a second. That's a cold shot. Do you know why I'm a Horizon guy?
Why is that?
Because at one point I thought Omaha was going to be in the Horizon League.
So just the idea of Omaha in the Horizon League is like, I'm all in?
I want to know what I'm dealing with.
Oh, fair. That makes sense. I like you doing your market research.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Staying on top of it. Coming up.
Oakland. Oakland in Sam Houston.
Coming up next, we'll talk about how Doug Gottlieb's a big fat idiot. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla.
So harsh.
This is it? That might be the nicest thing anybody's had to say about him in the last 48 hours.
81.57. I said 87.51.
Bet on it. Brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook. We'll be back with more Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next.
We will be back. We will be back. back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Radio with my main man Ravi. Lulla reminding you that let's all just do the right thing. Game day men's health. It's been fantastic for me, and I'm not even going to kid you. Whether it's a little anxiety, fatigue, a little brain fog, maybe it's your sex drive, maybe it's I don't know. You just want to better you get a full blood panel done. PSA, it is a great place to be. Makes you super comfortable. It's clean. It's super friendly. If I can tell jokes about being at places like Game Day Men's Health, it's probably a pretty good deal. Just make sure you visit Game Day Men's Health. You will be in and out. I kid you not, in and out within the hour, if that. I had to give myself a little wiggle room. Just to make wiggle room.
Well, I mean, that was both of us too.
Yeah,
it was both of us,
and that was telling jokes and
doing the whole thing,
perusing all the snacks.
Well, yeah, I did have some gummy snacks in there. I offered you some, but you didn't want any.
They're fruit snacks.
Yeah, they're gummies, little gummy snacks.
Okay. I want to be specific.
Are they not gummy?
Sure.
What?
Nothing.
Well, you can go check out GameDayMen'sHealth.com though.
Yeah.
Find out for yourself.
Do that.
We enjoy. They got some swag over there too. We got some.
Yeah. Have you rocked the shorts? They're comfy.
I don't think I got shorts. I got the t-shirt and the hoodie.
I put them on the chair.
Oh, is that in the little? Maybe I did get shorts and I got wrapped up in the hoodie. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I do love a good pair of shorts.
They're comfy. They're like pajama shorts.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I like it.
Shane, you don't have to worry about it for a lot of you free swingers.
They'd be like capris on Shane.
I was just gonna say I was jealous because I've always wanted to come back from break, but now I'm not jealous anymore.
Oh, you're just happy that you got to see Sasha. She made your day. She was actually relatively nice to Shane too. Usually you get the eye roll.
That's true. She seemed like she was in a good mood today.
Like, what now?
What? What?
What?
Tony chimes in. He says, listening to your opening pod today, could I convince you in-game coaching, Lanning and Campbell are the same, just one's in college, the other's in the NFL?
Yes.
I have questions about both being able to win it all with their decisions in
that's why I took Georgia. Quarterback situation, I trust Kirby.
You trust Kirby more than Lanning?
Yep.
I think that's fair. Kirby's been there.
I think that's because I do think I get what Campbell does, and I can vibe with it. I just think it has a statute limitation.
Yeah, when you're playing other good teams, it gets real in a hurry.
Yep. I wanted to see. Now, it may not manifest itself because they are so beat up, but if it does, I don't know. I'd just like to have seen it, the litmus test.
Yeah, I don't know what the path for Oregon is.
It's difficult.
It's the winner of Tennessee, Ohio State. So it could, Ohio State's talented enough for it to bite them, for the decision-making of Lanning to bite them, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, that was a one-point game the first time they played. And then in the semis, they would play, theoretically, Texas if what we think is probably the best team wins out in that top half there.
Husker X's and O's sent me something interesting that I didn't even look at. I should have known because I don't ever look at totals unless somebody brings it to my attention.
Like point totals?
Yeah.
Okay.
He said, and he's right, does it surprise you that they seem to think Penn State SMU will be higher scoring than Texas and Clemson?
Ooh.
Because the total is higher.
So they
53.5, 51.5.
They think Texas is going to be able to control Clemson.
I would guess.
I mean, between the line and the total,
Yeah.
that has to be what they're saying.
Yeah, because it's 12, but still 51.5.
Yeah, they think that Texas is going to be able to slow down Clemson.
Yeah.
Whereas,
but what is it?
You think they think SMU, Penn State's going to get into a shootout.
SMU can score, and Penn State goes to these weird droughts.
Yeah, I think Penn State can. I think SMU can score on anybody. I don't know who they can stop.
Yeah,
but they can score on anybody.
Yeah, I would imagine Penn State runs for a lot of yards.
Yeah, probably. But I don't know if they can stop them.
Yeah.
SMU's offensively is going to be able to score. Like, I'm a big Rhett Lashley guy. I think.
No, he's the dude. He's the real deal.
I've been super impressed with him.
KCS in our comments section.
Yeah.
I'm listening to yesterday's pod. I love the show. But every time Damon talks food, it makes me irrationally upset. Sorry, I had to vent. Can I just say something? Because Kobe got on me about this too.
Mm-hmm.
What's so bad about because I'll eat meat cold?
So the only thing that bothered me
smell like beef.
Was
you smell like beef?
Your general lack of concern for food safety.
Oh, that's fine.
That's the only thing that bothers me. I don't think, like, the cold meat, I don't have an issue with. We talked about that. I'll eat cold steak. And you're not biting it.
I think Kobe was still mad at me that I said ribs are overrated.
Well, you would like ribs if you like sauce on your meat. If you like sauce on your meat.
I like ribs are fine. I make them all the time. I make them very well. It just ranks low.
And Damon doesn't like sweet meat.
I mean, the sauce doesn't have to be sweet, Shane. But
it just ranks low on the protein list.
That's fair. That's kind of how I feel about mashed potatoes. I like mashed potatoes. There's a lot of other forms of potato I'm choosing over mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
But I like them. I like mashed potatoes.
Like I actually think.
Well, you don't have to tell me that.
I'm a fantastic cook. So
you're a good cook. Very good cook.
Kobe will eat whatever I make.
You made these. Was it the corned beef burnt ends?
Yes.
That I'm still waiting for you to make more of.
Yeah.
Still wait. It's been almost a year now.
I used those in the coaches competition.
They're really, really good.
A couple of weeks ago.
Those are really good. But yeah, I've had your food a few different times. Like it's very good. I'd vouch for that.
This smells
irrationally
delish.
angry. I get it. It's
okay. I think I make people irrationally angry about a bunch of other stuff.
I made Big A mad when I said I wiped the sauce off the meatball. Like,
to be fair, that made a lot of people irrationally angry. That was a take that people did not vibe with at all.
I'm not going to get back into it, but
I'm just saying. Big A was not a
bum. That's the most overrated thing I've ever seen in my life.
Big A was not alone in his outrage. That's all I'm saying.
I'm more of a screamer, fellas.
I don't know what to do with Big A sometimes.
Dude, I'm almost scared.
Love him. Love him, but my God.
I know.
I'd have him more if we'd have him on more if I didn't think we had to really limit his exposure to keep us on the air.
He's one of one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he is, I think
and believe it or not, he's a mama's boy.
I'd buy that. He talks about his mom all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
But he's one of those guys that I think leans into both of our worst tendencies. So we got to be real careful there. Because there is
all of a sudden it's just out of control.
Yeah, I'll do a NASCAR analogy to keep some other people happy. We don't talk about it a lot. There's no restrictor plate in that situation when all three of us are having a chat together.
Oh, so get this.
What's up?
So KCS, he said he went to middle school with your brother.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But do my food takes still suck?
Good old North Middle.
Do they suck?
Shout out the must. No, I don't. I mean, your food safety takes suck for sure. Like leaving stuff out is a terrible decision.
Eating the tops off of week-old pizza?
That's been in the oven for the entire week? Yes. Terrible.
I did notice. It's funny, too, because Micah reminded me of this yesterday. He goes, it would be fine. It's just not usually the right color.
You're on an island by yourself there, my friend.
But I know why.
Why?
Because sometimes after we use the oven, I'll put the pizza box back in there, and it hasn't. It
cooled
still
off yet?
has a little warming
heat
element to it.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the only reason.
It is.
You know that makes it even worse.
It is.
It's so much worse.
It's not.
No,
it's just brown cheese.
It really is. Yeah, brown cheese not great, my guy.
It's fine.
Speaking of some brown cheese, the Wisconsin Green Bay.
I still can't believe that.
I can.
So this is my take.
Yeah,
I think Gottlieb is trying to get fired.
He just wants that sweet buyout money. Like what?
Remember when I told you how he benched their best player because
Yeah.
he wasn't doing it his way?
Yeah.
Like he clearly is defiant.
I don't think he wants to get fired. I think he thinks he's way smarter than he is. That's what I think.
Nobody, you though. Coaches don't even say that. Not even in bye games. Nobody says
nobody you.
Nobody you.
He is. Signetti's the closest. That'll talk a little crazy.
Hey,
and he doesn't even go that far.
Can I just tell you that I was really upset with old Coach Signetti after McAfee this week?
Why is that?
Hey. You know, McAfee kept trying to close down the interview. Mm-hmm. Signetti was like, hey, by the way.
Went to bed, woke up, played 3:30, kicked their ass.
We're not done yet, okay? We're not done yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's how he closes out with okay. Okay?
Okay.
Not bad.
Okay.
What?
It's pretty simple. I win.
So, I'm like, gosh, I was all in. I was like your first fanboy.
You were.
Like, seriously.
Media days, you were all in. You're like, oh, I kind of like this guy.
That's all I want to talk about. And you're like, after my stomach feels better, I'll get back to you next week. I'm like, no, we got to talk about this guy. I don't hear a word he said. No, Ravi, we had to talk about this guy.
Is it too much too soon?
Did you not hear what he said?
No,
you're 63 and you've kicked a lot of tail. You have a little bravado.
No, I get it, but at least he's won. But that's what we're talking about with Gottlieb here. Is this like Signetti might be smarter than most people in the room.
What's that record again?
Not bad.
Not bad.
What's you want to know?
He certainly doesn't look 63 either.
You want to know what Gottlieb's record is? It's 2-11.
Yeah,
he just lost to a Division II team.
He said
he called
10-0.
Nobody you.
Yeah,
we're off to go play Nobody you. Nobody you. A D2 team just beat you.
So yeah,
we went to bed, woke up, played.
We got to bring in some guys, some teams that get the juices flowing.
Not this Nobody you.
Ooh,
you better get those juices flowing against Michigan Tech, otherwise you're going to take 2 might be all the wins you get on the year, bud. That might be all she wrote for old Doug Gottlieb. I have to dig into the record because I'm not. I would bet at least one of those wins is against a non-D1 team. I haven't looked because I don't care about Doug Gottlieb at all.
I just know I wouldn't say Nobody you.
I just know that dude is not one of my faves, and I'm going to revel in his failure.
Wow.
Is that fair?
Is he a tough hang?
Absolutely a tough hang.
Probably seems like it.
He seems like a ginormous Dean Blandino. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We will be back tomorrow to close out your week.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.